Shalom, shalom, Israel. Shalom, it's Brother Raya. I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'Shem Mashiach, Malak Yahushua righteous. Another strong shalom to all of the mighty brothers out there laboring on the highways and byways, making their body a living sacrifice. And the rain, the tumults, the demons, the uprises, the uproars, they standing 10 toes down for the name of the Lord, man. Another strong shalom to all of the akwaf, reverencing their husbands, being teachers of good things to the children at home. You understand? And another strong shalom to the akwaf that are not married as of yet, but building themselves up, being submissive, shamefaced, loving, steadfast. And if you're not watching, all hell breaking loose right now, man. As we speak, it was just a bombing, man. Right? So if you're not watching the times and what's going on, you're going to get caught out there, man. We living in the end days. Brothers should be consistently watching world news, right? You got the Washington Post, you got the breaking news, you got World War III, end time game headlines, right? You got NBC, you got CNN, you got all of these sources, you understand, of end time headlines breaking loose on the earth, man, right? And I'm going to share my screen and we're going to get straight to it. We're going to get straight to it, right? All hell breaking loose, man, right? It was just a bombing. Right, let's go to it. Let's go to it.
With U.S. Marines at that gate, were there any other U.S. citizens killed in the attack? And why were the Marines so close together that so many were killed in one strike?
Marines were killed.
So we think
12 U.S. It says 12 U.S. service members killed. 15 injured in attack at Kabul airport, man. So all hell breaking loose right now. Stop thinking you just always gonna hear about rumors of war. You're hearing about this. You're hearing about that. Hey, we living in these times, man. Hey, what you think the U.S. gonna do, man? What you think these other nations gonna do? Get more riled up, get more riled up. Hey, the Taliban is breaking loose all in the Middle East, in Saudi Arabia, Iran, Afghanistan. These are the literal dragons of the damn Arabia, man, that you read about in 2nd Esdras, the 15th chapter. These things are getting stirred up, man. It's exciting.
Bomb at Abbey Gate. Don't know if it's male or female. I just don't have that information. Don't know much about the second bomb, except one went off in the vicinity of the Barron Hotel, which, as you're aware, is a deeply bunkered structure. And as far as
Pentagon confirms 2 ISIS suicide bombers, right, responsible for attack at Kabul airport, man. So this Taliban is kicking up, man. They're like wild boars that you read about in 2nd Esdras, the 15th chapter. We're going to get into that in a little bit.
I know there were no UK military casualties as a result of that. There may have been Afghan casualties, and I'm sure there were Afghan casualties, but it will take us a little bit of time to actually learn how many Afghans became casualties. We took some of them on board the installation. Many of them were taken to hospitals out in town. So what I see is what I get on open source reporting about the nature of those casualties. But we're trying to gather more information about it. So the last point, I would tell you, I don't know the size of the bomb. And the size of the bomb is directly related to how many people are going to be affected by the blast radius of the weapon. We're going to investigate that. As I've noted before, you're at the interface point there at these gates. Somebody's actually got to look someone else in the eyes and decide that they're ready to come in. And so we'll find out exactly what happened. But beyond that, I would not want to speculate at this time, Jennifer. Thank you.
Any other American citizens from the State Department who were killed?
None that I am aware of now.
Okay, I need to go back to the phones. Laura Seligman.
Hi, General. Thanks so much for doing this. A couple questions.
So they're holding literally a press report, an emergency gathering at the Pentagon right now under the U.S. government, understanding and publishing this live, literally on TV, on CNN, right on NBC, that there were 12 U.S. service members killed, 15 injured in attack at Kabul airport, man. What you think the U.S. is going to do after their military, right? Their so-called precious American blood has been shed, man. They're going to retaliate, right? Let me get the book of 2nd Esdras. It's the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 15, right? and verse number 15. It says, for the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. What are the modern day swords? The modern day swords is the military, the tanks, the nukes, the drones, the bombs. All of these different things are the modern day swords where one nation is going to stand up against another nation. You read about that literally in Mark, the 13th chapter, Luke, the 21st chapter, the book of Matthew, the 24th chapter, Isaiah, the 24th chapter, Isaiah, the 25th chapter. All throughout, literally, the Bible is nothing but death and destruction. You read about that in Ezekiel, the 2nd chapter. He opened the scroll and it was death, mourning, and woes, man. It says what? For there shall be seditions among men and evading one another. What just happened, man? So-called the ISIS, right? The U.S., they literally got invaded together down there with the soil, man. And they're invading one another. Nobody's respecting the government, right? Nobody's respecting the princes of the society. Nobody's respecting the emperors. Nobody's respecting any of these military officials, man. They're literally invading one another's lands now, man. It's bloodshed. It's war. It's monarchy, man. Oh, hell breaking loose. You got the dragons of Arabia riding down with damn tanks. They got all these type of choppers, M3s, AK-47s, right? AR-15s, and they riding around and they doing whatever the hell they want, like a wild boar, man, like the scriptures talk about. And they're invading one another. It says, for there shall be seditions among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. You think that the Saudi Arabians, they really cared about who they killed? The 12 U.S. servicemen? Do you think that they give a damn that they were on their soil, which Esau doesn't keep it at home, proceeding to Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter? You think that he cares, man, when he's riding around to and fro, right, like a wild man, right, in the damn wilderness? You think he's going to regard their princes, their men, their chief men, and their captains, their officers, their elected officials, their government, their presidency? It says what? They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. What does it mean the course of their actions shall stand in their power? I mean, whatever they want to do, they're going to do it because they have the power to do it through the military might, through the monarchy, through all hell breaking loose, and there's nobody to govern nor protect these men, man, right?
First of all, can you tell me, we've heard reports of a third and possibly a fourth attack in Kabul today. Can you confirm those? And then also, can you tell us how exactly are you still conducting these evacuation flights? Are you concerned about manpads and other threats to the aircraft?
First of all, indications of other attacks in Kabul, but we have not been able to run that information down. So we see it. We get open source reporting on it, but I can't confirm that there have been other attacks in Kabul away from HKIA today. We continue to take a look at that very hard.
So he don't even know what the hell is going on. Your damn generals have no idea what's going on. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. Oh, hell breaking loose down there, man. This little bit of report of this bomb that we do have that hits the media is nothing compared to what's actually going down in the so-called Middle East right now, man.
I will tell you this, the safety of our aircraft coming in and out is of paramount importance, because obviously you have the opportunity there for 450 or more people to die if you have a significant mishap with the aircraft.
Over 450 people could die.
We know that ISIS would like to get after those aircraft. If
ISIS would love to get after those aircraft. Our brothers and sisters listening to this, man, they're coming out saying this, right? 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 300 years ago, they had their chests out. They had their big old damn hat on and their military forks and knives and swords and choppers, and they were proud. But now they're coming out. The American government is stating that they're weak. They're stating that if they got their hands on us, all hell could break loose. And they already know this, man. The U.S. is not the only one with ICBM missiles. Intercontinental ballistic missiles, man. You have them in India. You have them in Russia. You have them in North Korea. You have them in South Korea. You have them all throughout. Literally, the provinces is going on, man. These nations is getting stirred up for World War III. It's the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 15, right? And I'm going to start at 27. For now are the plagues come upon the whole earth, and ye shall remain in them. For God shall not deliver you because you have sinned against him. So brothers really got to get their spirits right, man. You should be on fire in these last days. Seeing America bow down to these different nations, seeing them rising up, seeing World War III on the rise, seeing the guns, the nukes, the drones, the bombs, seeing how every one of these different nations have ICBM missiles, man. Let me go prove that. Because people may not believe it, man. I don't believe that. Let's go to it, man. Right? Check this out. Which country has ICBM missiles? Russia has ICBM missiles, man. United States, China, France, India, United Kingdom, and North Korea are the only countries that have operational ICBMs, man. Now, when you look this thing up, literally, Russia's going to be the one that literally kicks this thing off, along with the so-called Middle East, the dragons of Arabia. You got China, right? The provinces of Asia, prophesied in the 2nd Esdras, the 15th chapter. You got France, right? Literally a part of the 10 toes, the 10 horns. You got India, right? You got United Kingdom, and you got North Korea, which just had a problem with so-called Donald Trump, Kim Jong-un and them, man. So don't tell me that all hell now about to break loose on this earth when all of these nations prophesied it in the Bible to literally come against America when we can see it with our own eyes, man. We can see these things. It's not like we're reading it. We have no proof. The Lord is giving you the proof through the signs, right? Let's go back to it.
If they can. We don't know that we don't believe they have a man-pad capable of doing it. They have taken shots at our aircraft on occasion without effect. We think that's going to continue.
We think that's going to continue. So literally the dragons of Arabia are shooting at the so-called U.S. military bases as we speak right now. And he says, I think it's going to continue.
And we will, but as you know, military aircraft have a variety of self-defense systems, which more vulnerable actually are the charter aircraft and other aircraft that are coming in that do not have those systems. So we, with our ISR, we look very carefully at the approach pattern and the departure pattern off that runway to see what to see if we see any sign of something that might pose a threat to aircraft. That's one of the things that we look at religiously throughout the day and throughout the night as we conduct operations. Because really, the aircraft, the only way we're going to get people out of there. So we are keenly sensitive threats to our aircraft.
Okay, we're going to take one more question. I'm sorry, guys, we got to keep moving. We're going to take one more question and then give the general a chance to close out.
General, I know it's still early, but at this moment in time, how do you believe the suicide bombers have made it through several checkpoints, whether it was Taliban or Afghan forces, to the Marines? Do you believe it was a failure, or they were able to somehow evade them and make it to the Marines?
Well, clearly, if they were able to get up to the Marines at the screening at the entry point of the base, there's a failure somewhere. It was a failure by the Taliban operate with varying degrees of competence. Some of those guys are very scrupulously good. Some of them are not. I just don't know the answer to that question.
He doesn't even know any answer to any question. Let's rewind that back.
Make all our practices better.
He doesn't know what's going on.
Today's a hard day.
How does your general of the United States, U.S. government, doesn't know how ISIS, the Taliban, all of these different forces, Iran, Afghanistan, you understand? All of these dragons, right, of Arabia are invading, man. And he has no answers. Even with all their military might, all their satellites, all of their things that they have accumulated, they have their infrared goggles, they have heat ray, they have all of these things, and they're so-called scientists in their labs, right? And they still don't know how they're being invaded, man. Why? Because it's of the Lord, man. That's why. The Lord has blinded the minds. Let's go to it. All right? Salaki, bear with me.
To update you and our viewers before we come to you that we're now hearing that 13 people, at least 13 people, have been killed in this explosion outside
now it's saying
Kabul
at least
International
13 people.
Airport.
That's how you know you can't trust this news. It literally just said live with 12 U.S. service members. Now it's saying at least. I'm led to believe it was 20 or more. Right? You can't trust these devils, man. This is breaking news. Taliban officially says at least 13, including children, and many Taliban guards wounded in blast outside of airport, man.
Including children. So that is the very latest we have on this explosion outside Kabul airport.
So don't think these devils care about your children,
thousands of people have gathered hoping to be on
War is
board
coming
those
to America,
evacuation
man.
flights.
War is coming to America, man. All hell about to break loose. All hell is breaking loose, man. Right? All hell is literally breaking loose as we speak. Live, U.S. Afghanistan, right, Salaki, Afghanistan updates 12 U.S. service members killed in an explosion. Salaki, bear with me.
But the thing I come back to is the remarkable professionalism that the force on the ground is showing. As I've noted before, ultimately at these screening points in particular, you've got to get very up close and personal to the people that you're bringing out. There's no way to do that safely from a distance. And we should all just bear in mind that we've been doing it for well over a week. We brought 104,000 people out. That's a tremendous number of contacts that every individual Marine, soldier, or sailor has had to have as we bring people aboard the airfield. It's a very heavy heart, you know, that I
everybody asks how you know we living in the end days. How you know all hell is breaking loose? Why do you repeatedly say that over and over? Because you can see the signs, man.
Make sure it's
That's what the Lord said.
For our folks on the ground that are doing this.
This is what the Lord said. 2nd Esdras 15:1. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in my mouth, saith the Lord. What did he put in Ezra's mouth, man? Prophecy. What are we seeing right now? Prophecy unrolling that was written and foretold in the Bible, man. The 2nd Esdras chapter 15 and verse 28. Behold, in horrible vision, and the appearance thereof from the east. What's in the east, man? Right? We about to figure this thing out, man. Countries in the east. A horrible vision from the east, man. The eastern world. The Mediterranean. Right? You have all of these countries from the east. Literally. And it's coming down on America. Arab, Armenian, Assyrian, right? You got all of these different Iranian, Iraq, so-called Israeli, no such thing, right? Jordanian, Lebanese, Saudi Arabian, Syrian. All of these different things, are they coming from the east, man? They don't think they coming to have fun. You know, they joke, they kind of miss you. They haven't seen you in a minute. They're coming for destruction, man. They're literally coming for destruction. Right? Let's go back to it. It says what? Behold, in horrible vision. So the Lord is prophesying in a horrible vision coming from this east, man. The appearance thereof from the east, where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots. Many chariots. It says these men are coming with many chariots. Right? Look at this. And they're growing. ISIS, the Taliban, all of these different nations, they're growing, man. Right? So there you have it. The dragons of the east, man. Right? Salakia, bear with me. All of these are literally raging war, and all hell was breaking loose down there, man. Right? And all of these different provinces in so-called Saudi Arabia. And they even say it's going to be no peace in the Middle East till the people of God return, man. You got Afghanistan, Turkish, right? You got slaughter of India, Pakistan, Iran, Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, right? Israel, Vietnam, Oman, United Arab Armenians, right? So you have all of these dragons of Arabia. It's already prophesied that Ishmael would dwell amongst his brethren, man, when you read the book of Genesis. So all of this is literally prophecy, man, when you read about it in the Bible, man, right? Let's go to it. It's the book of Genesis, chapter 16, and I'm going to start at verse 12. I'm going to start at verse 11. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, Behold, thou art with child, and art a bare son, and thou shalt call his name Ishmael, because the Lord have heard thy affliction, and he will be a wild man. So Ishmael's a wild man, man. He's riding around with all of his tanks. He's shooting up everything. He's beheading people. He's chopping off limbs. He's yelling. He's making all type of noises. He's suicide bombing. He's a wild man. That's how we know that literally the Spirit of the Lord, through the names as we know them as the day, that they are correct, man. Ishmael's a wild man. Esau's a red man. All of these different nations, they fit literally the nations in the Bible. He's a wild man. You understand? And his hand will be against every man. What does it mean his hand is going to be against every man? If you're not coming from these provinces, even themselves are warring within themselves. But if you're outside of this, he's going to be against every man. He's going to be against the United States. He's going to be against Egypt. He's going to be against Greece. He's going to be against Canada. He's going to be against India. He's going to be against China. He's going to be against all of the world, and his hand shall be against every single man. He's a wild man. And he shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren. Check this out. Ishmael shall dwell with all of his brethren. As it is today, the Saudi Arabians, Ishmael, he dwells amongst all his brethren, man.
Dirty, dangerous work. John, thanks very much.
Thank you, General. Thank you all. Appreciate it.
John, will you take a couple questions?
No, that's going to be the end.
The end of the news conference, the briefing at the Pentagon, we heard from General Kenneth McKenzie, Marine General, head of USS CENTCOM, delivering some difficult news. 12 American service members among those killed in the suicide bombings in Kabul, outside the airport area. 15 injured. There are an unknown of Afghan civilian casualties as well. As it was described that in addition to the bombs, what they believe were ISIS gunmen opened fire on crowds of civilians and others. And we heard in the briefing a moment ago, there's no word on any other civilian American.
What is America doing down there? That's the $1 million question. What are you doing invading all of these lands? That's like kicking down somebody's door and knocking on everybody's door for no apparent reason, man. You sneaking in everybody's window. You trying to break down everybody's back door. Let's go to the book of Habakkuk, man. Right, this is the portion of these devils, man. They stealing up all the oil, all of the silver, all of the gold, all of the minerals, all of the jasper, all of the zinc, right? All of the ship ports. They stealing everything, man. Let's go to it, man. Because you can't trust these devils, man. They don't keep at home. It's the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, and verse 4. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. Yet also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home. So you got America, they all the way down in Russia, they all the way in China, they all the way going over. Literally, you have seaports to where you can't go past a certain amount or duration of the Mediterranean Sea and throughout the Atlantic. You understand all of these different seas, the Black Sea, all of these different things. If you travel up, going over it, you know, they have radar systems. You understand? Just like if you literally live at a house, you would have borders or fences to where if somebody hop your fence, now they're in your yard. Literally, America flies over places they're not even supposed to be. They can get gunned down. You got to look these things up. Don't just think you could fly wherever you want. You in a jet, you're kind of having fun, they're doing flips. No, man, America invades different places, different lands, and even travels over different provinces. They're not even, their jurisdiction is not even from, man. It says what? He's a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desires as hell and as death. He cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. So he heaps up on him all people, all the precious things. And these nations getting tired of that, man. These nations tired of America doing whatever the hell they want to do, invading wherever they want to be, being a precious woman, the undefiled that has never been bombed. Name when America's been bombed, man. Name when this happened. You literally got China had war, North Korea had war, India had war. All of these different places had war. And yeah, America, you had the French Revolutionary War, you understand? You have the Spanish Wars, you have all of these, but these was within America and not through missiles and bombs. Name one time where America got bombed and destroyed, man. This is why this is that city that's undefiled, sits as a virgin, that you read about in Revelation, the 17th chapter. It says what? But gather to him all nations, and heapeth unto him all peoples. Shall not all these take up a parable against him? Shall not people get tired of America running and invading? Shall not these things come to an end? And taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay, man.
Americans being targeted, but again, a number of service members. He seemed to indicate near the end that these were U.S. Marines. I want to go to Richard Engel right now, who just left Kabul earlier today. He's in Doha right now. What details are you learning about all this?
So this is a much bigger attack than we had understood earlier. Before, we thought that a suicide bomber had somehow managed to sneak into the secure area right up against the base. But now CENTCOM is describing a complex attack. 2 suicide bombers, one attacking the Abbey Gate, which is one of the 3 main gates at the Kabul airport, which is where these evacuations are taking place. And the other at the Baron Hotel, which is just a few hundred yards away, which
you got people bleeding. Hey, man, when you go to work every day, you go outside, you wave to your neighbors, you see the birds chirping, you see the local milkman driving down the street. This is America, man. And these so-called damn Middle East countries, these third world countries, they living like hell. There's dust roads. There's no grass. There's a local grocery store every 10 to 15 miles. You understand? It's a monarchy. You have ISIS, you got the Taliban, you got these men, these sojourn warriors, vigilantes, damn near just making themselves within power, grabbing weapons, doing whatever the hell they want to do. And their government is in an uproar right now, man. So don't think that's not going to come to America. Don't think the local policeman, right, that's pulling you over for going 7 miles over the speed limit is being oppressed, man. All of these troubles, these woes is coming to America. Can you imagine seeing people blown up, people running around in the streets? People keep saying, when is all hell going to break loose? All hell has been breaking loose. It's just not in America at a vast rate yet. When you open your eyes and see how the world is living, how everybody's getting down, how wars and bombs and rumors of wars have escalated throughout time and throughout months and throughout seasons and throughout years, we get closer and closer to the end, man, for America being defiled.
Is a staging area where Afghans are often brought. They wait there. They wait until they can get into the Abbey Gate, and there are many British soldiers operating there. A much bigger attack during the screening process as Marines are patting down Afghans. We've been on the base. We've seen this happen. Crowds form outside. They waive their paperwork. The Marines have to make a call. Are they going to let the people in or not? There was an iconic image.
They said, are we going to let the people in or not? So much hell breaking loose down there. They don't even know if they're going to let people in the damn hospital. Imagine having your arm blown the hell off, right? Having your arm broken into 3 different pieces, and they're saying, we don't know if we're going to let you into the hospital. We can't even imagine that so-called in this world in the United States. Because why? You'll call the police. You'll show an uproar. You're banging on the counter. Where's the manager? There ain't no damn manager down there. Oh, hell breaking loose. And when it hits America with that famine, right, when all hell start breaking loose, when people stop to regard all of these princes of the society, it's going to get real, man. It's the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 15, and verse number 29. Where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come with many chariots, and a multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon the earth, and all they which heard them may fear and tremble. So everybody, when they see these tanks and these men, these dragons from Arabia, like they're brewing up right now, you're going to get trembled. You're going to be scared. You're going to start thinking to yourself, what the hell is going on? Imagine if ISIS rolled down your damn block right now, shooting it up. You can't call the police, can't call your Uncle Earl with the 38, can't call your damn brother that's in prison. You can't call nobody but the Lord. And they rolling up doing whatever the hell they want to do, when they want to do it. And can't nobody stop them, man. Because it's war, and the U.S. military are not looking out for the civilians. They're looking out for themselves. They don't. The last thing on the U.S. government's mind is, I have to take care of the Israelites. Where is Judah? Where is Benjamin? I must find Levi. What they're doing is they're going to their underground bunkers. They're seeking refuge. They're going into the crevices. They're going into the rocks. They're going into the caves. They're going into their bases. They're gathering up their weapons, and everybody else in the society is going to have to fend for themselves, man. It says what? And they which heard them may fear and tremble. Also, the Carmanians, which is in modern day Iraq, right? That's where the Carmanians are dwelling, right? Next to what? The dragons of Arabia, the Carmanians, rage and wrath shall go forth as a wild boar. Now, when you see a wild boar, they literally do whatever the hell they want to do. They're running over here. They running through people, right? They're a wild boar. Not even a damn pig, a boar kind of sitting there and they're eating grub. No, they're wild. What does it mean they're a wild boar? Meaning they're running in this city. They're running in that city. They're running in this province. They're running through that province. And they knocking down everything as they running like a fierce man of war on the left-hand side with choppers, guns, bombs. How in the world did America get a damn beat down like that, man? With all of this military and these satellites that they have, man. So the Lord, man, right? You telling me Jacob find all of these different things about you that you did on your record in the 5th grade, what you was doing the night of June 17th, right, 2008, but they can't figure out why men are invading them and suicide bombers. It's going to come with them suicide bombers. They're going to make their way to the United States. They're going to blow up all of these different things. Don't think they're not going to be like, you know what? It's the White House. I'm going to leave it the way it was. It's a nice statue of American history. No, all of these places going to go, man. Everything that you see as you know it as towns, cities, places, and provinces, it will be utterly destroyed, man. It says what? So like wild woods, like wild boars of the wood, and with great power shall they come and join battle with them, and shall waste the portion of the land of the Assyrians. And then shall the dragons have the upper hand. I'm going to read that again. And then shall the dragons have the upper hand. So let's figure this thing out. Are we to trust in the United States, the military, what they have, their protection, their government, their military, their warfare, their nukes, their guns, their missiles? Or we are to trust in the prophecy that the Lord has said? When you see all of this happening, how I look at it is I see them having the upper hand. I see them waging war. I see them doing whatever the hell they want. And I see them steadfastly making their way unto Babylon to destroy it. Because we, as in citizens in America, has been in their land for years, since the time of George Bush. I remember being in school and hearing about that, man. 9/11, this, that. I'm like, oh, man, here we go. And it's been all the way years ago, man. You think these nations aren't tired of Americans being in their damn backyard, man? The Lord said they're going to have the upper hand, remembering their nature. So the Edomites going to remember their nature, right? The so-called Chinese, the Moabites, they're going to remember their nature. The dragons of Arabia, they're going to remember their nature. Ishmael and all of his princes, they're going to remember their nature. Their nature are wild men. fearless men, corrupt men, dangerous men, men that don't give a damn, that are wild like boars. Esau's going to remember his nature. Thou, wicked, abominable, and ready for whatever with war, because his blessing was the sword. All of these different nations, they're going to remember their nature, man. It says what? It says, then the dragons have the upper hand, remembering their nature, and if they shall turn themselves, conspiring together in great power to persecute them, then these shall be troubled and keep silence, though their power, and shall flee. So who going to flee in that day, man?
A few days ago, of a
Iran or
Marine reaching
America?
over and picking up a baby and bringing that baby onto the base. So the Marines have a judgment call to make. They need to let the people on or not. And the general was just describing how, in this case, they thought that the people had already been screened effectively by the Taliban, who are manning the outer corridor, and it turns out that this attacker.
These are all the things that they're showing. Think of the things that they're not showing.
Among the Marines, killing at least 12 people. Another very striking description: the detailed coordination with the Taliban. Just a few weeks ago, the United States military, CENTCOM, this same general, was bombing the Taliban. Now the U.S. is sharing limited intelligence with the Taliban.
So it's a war. It said just weeks ago, the U.S. was bombing the Taliban. I bet you they're not saying that on the damn local news every 5 seconds. You got to kind of dig for these things. You got to damn near take a passport and go see it for yourself, man. Everything is hidden. You got to crave for world news to figure out what's happening. This does a plethora of things through your spirit. It jogs up your spirit to be excited. You can see the prophecies unrolling. You understand these words are true. It's bearing witness with your spirit, and you can see it on a physical level. You can see the 5th seal and the 6th seal and the 7th seal shortly about to come to pass. You see all hell breaking loose on the face of this earth, and it stirs up nothing but spirits, war, uproars, and you can see these things, man, and it's exciting, man.
Relying on them to secure the outer perimeter, saying that some Taliban are good at security, others are not so good. And today there was a breakdown in security, and they're trying to investigate. But another headline, they say that this is not going to slow down the operation, that the evacuations are continuing, but they are certainly on a heightened state of alert, particularly concerned about all those aircraft coming in.
Yeah, Richard, thank you very much. NBC's Courtney Kuby is talking with her sources, the Pentagon. Courtney, there were a number of headlines, and Richard just pointed out one of them, that there's actually this intelligence sharing on a limited level about threats near the airport. But also, the general almost said with certainty that there will be more attacks, that they expect more attacks.
They expect more attacks. They expect more attacks, man. You heard it yourself. You had the General of the United States had to get on live NBC to calm down the civilians. You think he got on there, the first thing he thought of, I must let everybody know what's going on. No, before news leaks, because people have cameras. They film things and get on the internet, and people get scratching their head. People go crazy. They don't have answers. They lose their mind. The U.S. is a master manipulator of literally stirring up your mind, right? Keeping you asleep. And what they do is they make puppets of these generals, right? They make puppets of these news anchors. They make puppets of all of the presidency and the elected officials. And what they do is they calm you down, right? They get on there. They say, you know what? We have this under control. You know, they're bombing. We expect it again. But, hey, nothing's going to happen. If nothing's going to happen, why 12 plus, 13 plus, I'm led to believe it's way more than that, are killed, and they expect more. You understand? So these bombs are going to start getting bigger. It's not going to be just dropping it off or a suicide bomber that killed, right, a duration of a football field. It's going to get to the point where these things are now covering cities. They're covering states. They're covering countries.
Yeah, absolutely. He said there is still this continuing very real and very serious threat from ISIS against the airport. He even detailed a couple of them. We saw these suicide attacks here today. They are very concerned about a vehicle-borne improvised explosive device, what he referred to as a VBIED. That would be someone trying to drive a vehicle with explosives on it onto the airport and onto the base. He also said that they're concerned about rockets and ISIS potentially targeting an aircraft coming or going out of that airport. But
you see that now ISIS is going to literally potentially target a whole airport with rockets, man. Right? So don't be damn wild or baffled if later on the night, if not tomorrow or next week, the whole place, you understand, gets destroyed by bombs. It's a national security threat, man.
Not only, and touching on Richard's point there about how the U.S. is sharing intelligence with the Taliban, General McKenzie also said that they believe that some attacks have already been thwarted through this intelligence sharing. That was a new piece of information that we've not heard. Basically, what he's talking about here is the Taliban have this outer perimeter. They basically have the entire airport surrounded right now. When people are going through these Taliban checkpoints to get to the airport and the neighborhoods around the airport, the Taliban are checking them out. And General McKenzie said that they have varying degrees of competence. Some of them are able to check people very well, and others simply are not. So there was a failure here that led to this terrible attack. General McKenzie also said that in addition to this suicide attacker at the Abbey Gate, there were ISIS fighters. He did say that he believes ISIS is behind this. ISIS fighters opened fire on the crowd. That may be another reason that we saw such high casualty levels here. And this is not uncommon when we see some of these complex attacks. It's generally more than one means of attacking when they is what the military would refer to as a complex attack. And in this case, it was the suicide bomb, the ensuing gunfight. And that may be, again, Lester, why we saw such high casualty levels here. Another thing General McKenzie addressed, there is no plan at this point to send additional U.S. troops in to help secure the airport after this attack, and the evacuation mission continues even now, Lester.
Yeah, quite an operation underway given this new security threat. All right, Courtney, thank you. Let's go back to Richard Engel right now. Richard, you're learning a little bit more about civilian casualties in these attacks.
We're going to hold this. We're going to hold this, and we're going to go to... Right. We'll go to this. Bear with me.
A bounty on his head from the U.S. The FBI has him on their wanted list because he is wanted as a terrorist.
Hospital, that is Kabul's first responsive hospital, they've also confirmed of receiving at least 13 bodies, dead bodies, that is. And the number of people around, very near to the Kabul airport, that was in thousands, have now drastically reduced. And now just in some hundreds beyond this container, the area which is being guarded by the British side, and from the British gate onwards to the Barron gate to the canal, that area is being guarded by the Allied forces. Ma'am.
Right, Anas. We understand that there were warnings. French President Macron has said that the next hours will be extremely risky. Is anything being done right now to ask the people to leave the airport premises or the area surrounding the airport? Is it being sanitized? Is there a fear that another blast or another attack may take place in the hours ahead?
Now check this out.
Hey, if you're trying to build an online...
Right, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris laugh at threat, Afghan disaster, like it's a joke.
Colonel, it's just 5 days ago before the Taliban says that's it. The evacuation flights from Afghanistan, they stop. And it's already said no more Afghans can leave. Now, you just saw that Australian citizen, Afghan background, had been bashed trying to get to the airport. Our Foreign Minister today said he is not the only one.
Those scenes are obviously deeply distressing, and they have unfortunately been replicated on a number of times. I have heard reports of the attacks on women, attacks on children, threats at checkpoints.
Have in fact managed to get out another 1,200 people last night, I mean, that we're seeing good laugh. US president, many of our people in danger, now having a good laugh. US president.
He said his damn people in danger, and he's having a good laugh, man. Let me rewind that. So don't think these Americans care about you, man. This is not our arrest, man.
To go plug that ABC book about how terrible they are. But it also makes me angry to see these politicians whose stupid decisions created this crisis, put so many of our people in danger, now having a good laugh. US President Joe Biden, who decided so stupidly to yank out all US troops without even a proper evacuation plan, was last night in...
It says he's yanking out troops and he doesn't even have an evacuation plan.
A joking mood when reporters peppered him with questions about what he would do if Americans were still trapped in Afghanistan after August 31.
Sure, what would we do if Americans are still there after the deadline?
Now, Biden's response, you'll be the first person I call. Ha, ha, ha. What is it about this disaster that makes...
Let's go to the book, right, of Matthew, chapter 24 and verse 6, man. And we can't read this enough. Stop wanting to read Esther all day, man. We living in the times of prophecy. It's the book of Matthew, chapter 24 and verse 6. And ye shall hear of wars. That's what we're hearing right now. We've been hearing about wars, right, from the dragons of Arabia, right, from over 10 years ago, man. It's just brewing up and it's getting stronger, and they're forming more of an alliance. It says, you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet come. So like the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in derived places, man. It was literally an earthquake, right? Literally almost every other day for the last, I don't know, 3 months, man. When you look this thing up, it literally was an earthquake on the coast of Japan during the Olympics, man. Less than a month ago. So while they were doing the Olympics, you had literally, I believe, like a 7.2 or a 6.8 earthquake that was happening on the coast of Japan during the Olympics, man. All these are the beginning of sorrows. So, brother, like, you have to understand, this is the beginning, man. This is not the end. It's exciting when you see the beginning of something. You going up that roller coaster ride, you feel it, right? You're no longer strapping yourself in the seat. You're not talking casually before the man pushed the damn button anymore, man. You're not looking, evaluating the ride to see if I want to get on this thing any longer, man. You're now approaching the top of the pinnacle. These are the beginning of sorrows. Sorrows is the pestilence, the death, the uproars. They're giving you the bee sting. You understand? All of these things are the beginning. You got the bee sting on a vast rate. You got thunders and lightnings on a vast rate. You got earthquakes going on in Sydney, Australia, Japan. You understand? You got all hell breaking loose in the so-called Middle East with the dragons of Arabia. All of these things are nation against nation. The famine, the wars, the pestilence. All the whole world and earth is in an uproar, man. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted. The Lord said, after this happened, then you're going to be delivered up. That's the fifth seal, man. That's the fifth seal kicking off. What? Jacob's trouble, the death of the saints, martyrdom. When all of these things kick off and the whole world's in shambles, then you're going to be delivered up, man. Brothers got to be ready for that. Let's go to the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12. Right? Because faith without works is dead. Don't just read that with a Christian spirit. Oh, I have to have works. I must just give alms. I can't talk about alms all day. No, faith that you believe in Yahweh while Yahweh shot without the works, being ready to die, being ready to teach, being ready to prophesy, being ready to read, being ready to pray, being ready to fast, being ready to be diligent, ready to be able to die for your brethren without works is dead. You don't mean nothing to the Lord, man. We're approaching the days we're going to have to prove everything we've ever said. Prove that you love the Lord. Prove you ready to die. Prove you ready to face martyrdom. Prove that you understand the prophecies, you believe them and you see them. And when these things kick off, the first thing you do is call upon the name of the Lord, man. Right, let's go to it. It's the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12 and verse number 3, right? And it reads, "In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out the windows be darker." The grinders are the men of the society that's grinding everything, making the stoplights, running the government, having a police force, the elected officials. Everything that's set in so-called order in this land is going to come to a point where all of the grinders, men that keep everything in motion and prospering, even the food districts, right? You have the grocery stores, the 18-wheelers, the merchant ships. All of these things are going to cease because they are few, and those that look out the windows be darkened. And the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low, and he shall rise up in the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low, man. Everybody's going to be brought low. Everything we keep reading is coming to pass. And even the government is getting scared, you understand? And coming out publicly, pronouncing on Google, on CNN, on NBC, on Washington Post, that they're not the only ones with nuclear weapons.
Yeah, so I've been through this gate. I went through that gate just a few days ago, and there are many Afghans who are waiting outside the gate, and they are trying to get in. They are pleading. Some of them have documents, some of them don't. These are ones who are able to convince the Taliban that they had a strong enough case that they could convince the Marines to let them.
Look at 8 damn prisoners in there, man. Right? So if the Lord is allowing this to happen on the earth, and this is literally in Iran, Afghanistan, and Pakistan, and all these various places, and we see it right here before our eyes, what you think gonna happen to us, man? That's gonna be the saints. We're gonna be in prison camps. We're gonna literally have these men, these governments over us, ready to shoot us dead, man.
According to medical officials in Kabul, at least 60 Afghans were killed. The geography there is also important. There is a corridor that leads from the Baron Hotel to this gate. That's where many of these Afghans have been staying. Some of them have been sleeping there. Some of them have been there for days and days. And as Courtney described, this was a complex attack. So at least 2 suicide attacks followed by gunfire. In this corridor, there is an open sewage drain, an open sewage canal, and there is very disturbing images that have come out on Afghan media and social media of bodies that have just been filled in the sewage canal is filled with bodies and injured people. So it seems that in the attack, in the gunfire that followed, some of the people were killed, fell into this canal, were pushed into this canal. So a very, very disturbing scene, and you can only imagine that one gate, and there are only 3, is now, if not out of operation, certainly operating at a much slower pace.
All right, Richard Engel, thanks. I want to bring in Admiral James Stavridis, who's NBC's chief international security and diplomacy analyst. He previously served as the NATO Supreme Allied Commander with responsibility for Afghanistan. Admiral, good to join you. I'm wondering, we heard a moment ago that the Taliban and the U.S. were sharing some information as it pertained to threats around that immediate area. Do you think this opens up the door for an accommodation, for the Taliban to accommodate the U.S. a little longer, to go past this August 31st? Might that be an offshoot of this horrible tragedy we've seen today?
I'd say it's possible, Lester, and this, of course, is exactly what the president and his team are huddled. I'd say they have 3 big options in front of them. One is to essentially depart immediately, move as quickly as possible, fold up the mission completely. I don't think that...
What's the mission? What is the mission that they're down there doing, man? What is folding up the mission?
That would be the right way to go. It sort of smacks of the 1980 bombing in Lebanon and the sudden withdrawal after the devastating explosions there. Option 2, I think, Lester, is continue on course to get out of there on Tuesday, do everything you can in your power, obviously, to push your perimeter out, as Frank McKenzie was telling us. Bring all the technology, talk to the commanders on the ground. What do you need? Perhaps slow down the troop withdrawals. That's the steady as she goes option. Option 3 would be what you're describing. That would be go to the Taliban, say, we need a little more time based on all of this. Potentially could open cooperation for us and the Taliban to strike against the Islamic State, Khorasan. I think that's probably a bridge too far in this moment. I suspect the president and his team will land on option 2, steady as she goes. Let's get out of here as quickly as we can. And
so they're literally saying they'll bow down to the Taliban to give them some more time so they get the hell up out of there, man. Right? They're coming out saying these things. So the U.S. government is weak. I was looking up when I was studying last night how the U.S. dollar was falling, how the economy is in shambles, man, right? How literally this economy is going to fall and collapse. Nobody's using the U.S. dollar anymore. Everything's currency. The U.S. currency, which used to be high above a lot of other countries, is starting to fall low, man. This whole thing is being destroyed, man.
Then let's think about, once the troops are gone, once we folded this mission, how do we then create a kind of, if you will, underground?
Every single day, we're all getting.
Well, let me get another precept. It's the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 15, and I'm going to start at verse. I'm going to pick up where I left off. And verse number 33. And from the land of the Syrians shall the enemy besiege them, and consume some of them, and their laws shall be feared, and dread, and strife among their kings. Right? And it reads, behold, clouds from the east, and those clouds is talking about the planes, the jets, all of these U.S. Stryker and military helicopters, right? It says, behold, clouds from the east, and from the north unto the south, and they are very horrible to look upon, full of wrath and storm. So every battle is not going to be fought physically on the ground. Don't just think that it's going to forever be these rumors of war and bombs and suicide bombers. Once this thing hit the sky, when all of these things come to pass, and they start to push buttons, and they're starting to launch off their missiles and their planes, and all of these men start to be in the sky, then we're going to know that we're sincerely and fully in World War III. World War III is already kicked off. It's just not on a main full level and reach all of the earth. You have stages of everything. You have the beginning birth pains of labor. Can't just say you're in labor just because the baby kicking, but you know that labor is not. The baby's developed, you understand? You start to get those cramps. You know that it's coming to pass. Then your water has to break. Baby starts to kick forth. And even in labor, you understand, it could be anywhere from immediately, right, to 16 hours to plus that, man. So labor takes a long time. Then the baby comes out, especially with these birth pains of the world. You see the tribulation, see the uproars, you see the pestilence, and you see that they're in war and that they're in uproar in the Middle East, man, right? And it says what? They shall smite one upon another, and they shall smite down a great multitude of stars upon the earth. So when these battles begin to stop being on the landmass level and start to be in the sky, then they're going to start smiting down all of these stars, which are nuclear missiles, man. Read about that in Revelations, the 8th chapter, man. 8 and 8 and 8 and 10 on down, man. That star is very horrible to look upon. And they're not going to smite one star at a time. When they're in the sky, just like them chemtrails that they're dropping all of these things upon the earth, they're going to be smiting down a plethora of stars at one time, man. Great multitude of stars upon the earth, even their own star. And blood shall be from the sword unto the belly, and dung of men unto the camel's hoof. And there shall be great fearfulness and trembling upon the earth. So it's going to be a lot of gratefulness and trembling on the earth, man. Just like now, them people that's in Afghanistan and all of the places, right, where the dragons of Arabia are, they're in the uproar. They're in prison camps. They're held captive. Their citizens are being destroyed. They hear bombs all night long, right? They see U.S., right, all in their forces, invading their streets, right? And they living like hell down there. Imagine when it kicks off and comes to America, right? And all of these different nations, which have literally been brewing up, angry, are going to let loose like a wild boar, man. It says what? And it says, and there shall be great fearfulness and trembling upon the earth, and they shall see wrath, and shall be afraid, and trembling shall come upon them. I'm going to jump down to verse 40. The great and mighty clouds shall be lifted up full of wrath, military, you understand, in the sky, and the star, the bomb, that they make all the earth afraid, because it's going to destroy a lot, and upon them that dwell therein, and they shall pour out over every high and eminent place a horrible star. What is every high and eminent place? That's every city that's literally inhabited by citizens and the government and everybody in it, right, on a vast rate. They're going to smite down all of these stars over all of these cities and utterly destroy them, man. And this is talking about where? In Saudi Arabia, in Iran, in Afghanistan. And this is coming to pass right now, man. They've literally been bombing for years at a time. And it's going to brew up to the level to where these things literally start coming out the sky and war kicks off on a very, very vast rate. Because a lot of countries, they have confederacies with different other allegiances of different countries. You have Israel, United States, right? You may have Afghanistan and Iran. You may have these different nations that confederate, meaning when they go to war, they call their confederacies and they go to war with them. That's why when you read about in Obadiah, verse 8 on down, all the men of thy confederacy have set themselves against thee. All the men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee, man. Because you may have alliances, allegiance, confederacies with different nations. But what does that mean when a treaty is broken? When all hell break loose, man? Nations are going to war against nations. And when other nations go to war, they're going to call their confederates to war with them. And that's more military. That's more fight. That's more anger. That's more damn bombs, man. Right? That's why a lot of weak people, even on a carnal level, they join in gangs. Right? Because the more of them, the better. Reading on. The great and mighty cloud shall be lifted up full of wrath. Verse 40. And the star that shall make all the earth afraid, and them that dwell therein. And they shall pour out over every high and eminent place a horrible star, fire and hail, flying swords, and many waters, and Salakia, that all the fields may be full, and all rivers, with the abundance of great waters. And they shall break down the cities, and walls, and mountains, and hills, and trees, and woods, and grass, and meadows, and their corn. So all of these places will be utterly destroyed. Then what's going to happen after the so-called Middle East, Iran, Afghanistan, all of these different places are in the uproar and they're bombing and they're in full-fledged World War III. And they shall go steadfastly unto Babylon. So what's coming next? They're coming steadfastly unto Babylon. I didn't write that in there. I didn't take the pen, right? And I dipped it in the ink. Then I made a big search. I didn't do that, man. That's what the Lord said from old, from the foundation of the earth, that when these things kick off in the places that they are already kicking off right now, what's the next thing to happen? For war to kick off where? Steadfastly going into Babylon, man. So don't think you're going to be able to kick back and watch the Parkers all day. Don't think you're going to relax and watch Nikki Parker and Professor Overview all day, man. If you're not on fire, if you're not diligent in reading and understanding prophecy, this thing going to catch you like a thief in the night. So that's deeper than the Lord coming like a thief in the night. On a physical level, because the Lord could visit you in your dream, visit you like a thief in the night. Lord could blow out your candlestick in the obscurity of darkness, like you read about in Proverbs 20 and 20. The Lord could visit you like a thief in the night and knock your understanding off. The Lord could visit you like a thief in the night, you understand, and have the next seal open up that you wasn't even ready for. You didn't even know it was any seals. You don't even know what seal you're living in. So the Lord catching you like a thief in the night is deeper and double to that which is them physically coming, right? It says what? And they shall go steadfastly unto Babylon and make her afraid. They shall come to her and besiege her. The star and all wrath shall they pour out upon her. Then shall the dust and smoke go unto them, the heaven, and all they that be about her shall bewail her, man. Let's go back to it.
concert with our Department of State partners to reach out to them and to help them leave if they want to leave. And remember, not everybody wants to leave. Yesterday, we brought in over 500 American citizens. It would be difficult to overestimate the number of unusual challenges and competing demands that our forces on the ground have faced. The threat to our forces, particularly from ISIS-K, is very real, as we have seen today. I would also like to express the sense of profound pride I have in the creative, determined, and professional way that our forces have overcome those challenges and to deliver the results that we talked about in my opening portion of the remarks, the number of people that we've been able to extract from Afghanistan. It would also be remiss of me not to mention the tremendous contributions of our many coalition partners, and they stood with us on the ground at HKIA, and also the interagency and international partners who supported the evacuation. The many soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guardsmen who supported this operation downrange across the Central Command, the European Command, and the Northern Command areas of responsibility. Moreover, this evacuation could simply not have been done without the amazing flexibility of U.S. Transportation Command and the airlift provided by the United States Air Force. No other military in the world has anything like it. I'd also like to thank the host nations that have generously provided access to their facilities for the processing, the care, and the feeding of our evacuees. I also need to acknowledge the temporary suffering that some of our evacuees have had to endure. Please know that we continue to execute our number one mission, which is to get as many American citizens and other evacuees as possible out of Afghanistan. We also—
It said that's our number one mission, to get as many of the U.S. out of Afghanistan as humanly possible, man. Why? Because all hell breaking loose down there, and ain't nobody else going to come for them but their own alliances in the United States, you understand? So what's going to happen, man? They're going to literally have to wage war against these men. It's already happening. They're slowly, the amount of men of the U.S. government in Afghanistan right now is very few. That's why they're now waging war on a big, vast level, because they will utterly get demised and blown up. So they're trying to subtly play allegiance while they're down there to take. See, that's the Lord thundering, man. Job, the 37th chapter. All praise to the Most High, man. Right? But like literally what's going on, right, is that these men are trying to bow down literally while their men are there so they can subtly get them out, because they know that war can kick off for them at any vast rate because they're already getting blown up. Their military bases are getting attacked. They have 13 plus U.S. service members killed on attack, right? Let's look up the statistics.
Also continue to expand the capacity at our intermediate facilities to ensure safe, sanitary, and humane conditions for our evacuees, while continuing to look for ultimate ways to expedite their processing and ultimate transfer to the United States or other destinations. I'd like to close out my remarks today by just taking a moment to describe the heroism that our Marines, soldiers, and sailors are exhibiting as they screen the people who are coming onto the airfield. This is close-up work. The breath of the person you are searching is upon you. While we have overwatch in place, we still have to touch the clothes of the person that's coming in. I think you all can appreciate the courage and the dedication that is necessary to do this job, and to do it time after time. Please remember that we have screened over 104,000 people.
Let's go to the statistics real fast. Bear with me. Go to the statistics real fast. This is the statistics. You got the U.S. war in Afghanistan all the way from 1999 to 2021, man. So this thing's been brewing up for a while. That's why the Lord said rumors of wars. These are the beginning of sorrows, man. Let me go to the book of Matthew. Now let me get Mark. The book of Mark, chapter 13, and verse. I'm gonna start at verse 5. And Yahweh shall answer them, begin to say, take heed lest any man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Yahweh, and shall deceive many. And when he shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, be not troubled. For such things must need be, but the end shall not be yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be earthquakes in various places, and there shall be famines and troubles. These are the beginning of sorrows. Right? Now, when you jump to verse 2, and Yahweh shall answer and said unto them, seest thou these great buildings? He's prophesying the destruction. You see all of these buildings, all of these cities. You got DC, Virginia, you got Pennsylvania, you got Florida, you got all Detroit, you got all of these different places, all of these great buildings in these great cities. There shall not be left one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. So the Lord's going to have the whole Babylon destroyed, man. Look at this, the start. 1999. With an Al-Qaeda and Taliban nexus. 2001, a Northern Alliance assassination. September 11, 2001, terrorists strike the United States. So this beef and this brewing has been brewing up, man, for years. A war footing, right, of U.S. George Bush. October 7, 2001, the opening of Slavavo, the Taliban retreat, Bin Laden, right? Look at all of these accounts. The Taliban commander falls, choleric killing in a mount. Even from the time of so-called Obama, man. Taliban cancels talks, U.S. Afghani tensions flare. That's all the way in 2012, man. So don't think these tensions, oh, this is something new. Oh, did you hear about the attack? No, these things been brewing up, man. Trump calls off peace talks. September 7, 2019, man. U.S. Taliban signs deal on path to peace. But that's all a lie, right? That's 2020. Bin Laden decides on complete U.S. withdrawal by 9/11. Afghan government collapses as the Taliban takes Kabul. That's what we living in right now, man. That's what we living in right now. That the literal government is literally collapsed down there and all hell is breaking loose down there, man. Biden defends withdrawal. And man, we would have keep scrolling through the spirit. It would have been like all hell breaking loose. Wars kicked off. More U.S. soldiers have died. And it's a war full on going on from now. Right? Let's go to the book of Jeremiah.
Finally, I'd like to offer my profound condolences to the families of our servicemen and women and Afghan civilians who lost their lives today. We have put more than 5,000 U.S. service members at risk to save as many civilians as we can. It's a noble mission, and today we have seen firsthand how dangerous that mission is. ISIS will not deter us from accomplishing the mission, I can assure you of that. All Americans can and should be proud of the men and women of the armed forces who are facing these dangers head on, with their international partners and all our other friends that are with us. And we appreciate your thoughts and prayers for all our service members who are carrying on this mission today. John, I'm now ready to take questions.
Thank you, General. We'll start with Lita.
Thank you. General McKenzie, Lita Baldor with AP. Thank you for taking the time to do this. Can you give us your assessment of the ISIS threat going forward? What are you seeing on the ground now? Does this cut the evacuation short, do you believe? And are people able to get onto the airport now? And then finally, the president has warned that any attacks against the U.S. would be answered. Will
any attacks against the U.S. will be answered?
This attack be answered militarily by the U.S.?
She just asked, are they going to be literally answered by the U.S. and all of these attacks?
So, a number of questions there. Let me try to take them in order. So first of all, the threat from ISIS is extremely real. We've been talking about this for several days.
The threat from ISIS is extremely real. It's extremely real, man. Don't take this as a game. The U.S. military, and this is literally the government commanding general over top of them, are saying these things, man.
We saw it actually manifest itself here in the last few hours with an actual attack. We believe it is their desire to continue those attacks, and we expect those attacks to continue. And we're doing everything we can to be prepared for those attacks. That includes reaching out to the Taliban, who are actually providing the outer security cordon around the airfield to make sure they know what we expect them to do to protect us. And we will continue to coordinate with them as they go forward. We are continuing to bring people onto the airfield. We just brought a number of buses aboard the airfield over the last couple of 3 hours. So we continue to process. We'll continue to flow people out. The plan is designed to operate while under stress and under attack, and we will continue to do that. We will coordinate very carefully to make sure that it's safe for American citizens to come to the airfield. If it's not, we'll tell them to hold, and then we'll work other ways to try to get them to the airfield. But I think our mission remains. We're still committed to flowing people out up until we terminate operations at some point, towards the end of the month. But I think we have the ability actually to do all of those things as we go forward. Let me just come back one moment. And you talked about going after ISIS. Yes, if we can find who's associated with this, we will go after them.
Yeah, there you have it, out of the horse's mouth. We will go after ISIS. You heard it here, man, right? Live on the report, man. Right? You got to be a watchman in this thing, man. And what do watchmen do? They literally watch. Let's go to the book of Isaiah. You heard it first, man. They're gonna respond. And I'm on the edge of my seat. I'm gonna be checking the news, blogs. I'm gonna be checking everything all night tonight. I'm gonna be on all of the different sources. I'm gonna be on everything I could be on. You understand, to see what's gonna befall, man. Right? Literally, I'm gonna be on end time headlines. You understand? Right? So like you bear with me. I'm gonna be on Disclosed TV. I'm gonna be on BBC Breaking News. I'm gonna be on NBC News. I'm gonna be on CBS News. I'm gonna be on the Washington Post. I'm gonna be on Breaking News at Breaking News. I'm gonna be at DEFCON Warning Systems. I'm gonna be on Missile Defense Agencies. I'm gonna be on Breaking 911. I'm gonna be on Endgame WW3, which is World War III headlines, man. I'm gonna be on all of these places checking. And I listed them all so you can rewind this and look these things up. These are whistleblowers. These are sites. These are men. These are U.S. ex-government officials that literally have pages. These are little websites. These are things where you can consistently do what? Watch, man. Let's go to the book of Isaiah chapter 21, right? And verse number 6. For thus saith the Lord, said unto me, go set a watchman, let him declare what he seeth. So all of the men should be watching and declaring what you see going on the earth, man. If you're not watching and declaring what you see, you're going off. It says what? And he saw a chariot with a couple of horsemen. So when we actually look, we go into these things, what do we see? We see the chariots, we see the horsemen, we see the men, we see the military of asses and a chariot of camels. And he hearkened diligently with much heed. And he cried, a lion, my Lord, I stand continually upon the watchtower in the daytime, and I am set in my ward whole nights. So you don't just watch during the Shabbat. You don't just watch at a feast day. You don't watch because all hell may break loose. You may have had a suicide bomber. You may have had 13 plus U.S. service members killed. Now you watching constantly, man. Constantly. It says, and behold, here cometh the chariot of men, and Salakia, with a couple of horsemen. And he answered and said, Babylon is fallen, and all the graven images of her gods He have broken into the ground. So the Lord not playing, man. Right? That's what we're going to declare literally when we see it coming to pass. Oh, my threshing and my clawing of my floor, that which I have heard of the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, have I declared unto you. Right?
We've been clear all along that we're going to retain the right to operate against ISIS in Afghanistan. And we are working very hard right now to determine attribution, to determine who is associated with this cowardly attack, and we're prepared to take action against them. 24/7, we are looking for them.
24/7, we are looking for them. You heard it first. 24/7, the commanding general is looking for them. Meaning, while you sleep, what does Esau do? To have shifts. Just like you go to your job, and you may be a janitor, you may get off, and somebody else comes on. They're a janitor. You may work at a collection agency, you may be on phone calls, whatever you do. You may be a coach, maybe a teacher. Hey, look, the next teacher coming on shift. The next teacher coming on shift. Hey, you may work a 24-hour call center. Hey, the next person's coming up. Hey, while you're sleeping, Esau and his military are not falling asleep. They're taking shifts. They're on fire on the left-hand side for war, man. How much more the men of the Lord? How much more the watchmen that have to be watching for the signs? They have to be declaring. There was literally a blood moon for 10 plus days, man. Less than 3 weeks ago. And 2 days ago, there was a blood moon for 2 days back to back, man. You got all of the thundering, the lightnings. You got all of this happening, man. The Lord is speaking. Brothers just have to open up, you understand, their mind, which is their heart and their spirit, to perceive it and read this in the spirit to be able to know these things, man.
David.
General David Martin with CBS. 27 casualties is a terrible number. 12 dead. Could you explain the circumstances of these attacks which resulted in such high casualties for the U.S.?
Sure, David. So first of all, you will understand that we're still investigating the exact circumstances. But what I can tell you is this. The attack occurred at a gate. And at a gate, we have to check people before they get onto the airfield. We have to ensure they're not carrying a bomb or any other kind of weapon that could ultimately make its way onto an aircraft. So that requires physical screening. You can't do that with standoff. You ultimately have to get very close to that person. So while the air base itself is surrounded with T-walls, we're well bunkered in. We've done a variety of things to protect ourselves. At these interface points, these gates where people actually come on the airfield, there's no substitute for a young man or woman, a young United States man or woman, standing up there conducting a search of that person before we let them on. Now, the Taliban have conducted searches before they get to that point, and sometimes those searches have been good and sometimes not. I will simply note that before this attack, we had passed 104,000 people through. So this attack is one too many, but we'll evaluate what happened. We'll find ways to always get better. But the key thing is you don't want to let somebody on an airplane carrying a bomb, because that could result in even massive loss of life if an airplane were to be destroyed. So you got to do the searches. We work with our Afghan partners on the ground, the NSU elements, to conduct those searches. But ultimately, Americans have got to be in danger to do these searches. There's really no other way to do it. And again, I cannot tell you how impressed I am with the daily heroism of the men and women that are out there doing this work. Typically soldiers, sailors, and Marines that are doing that work. And they're right up close to thousands of people that are flowing through the airfield. You've all seen the images. And to be able to get up and do it day after day is remarkable. And this time, it looks like somebody got close to us. We'll find out why. We'll try to improve our procedures. It is 12 service members dying. Nobody feels that more closely, more directly than me and everyone else in the chain of command. And we recognize that we need to continue to evaluate our procedures as we go forward. At the same time, there's a tension there. We have to continue to let people own the airfield, because that is why we are there. We're not there to defend ourselves. We're there to defend ourselves while we process American citizens first, but also the other categories of people that I've mentioned, get them to a place where we can fly them out into a safer, better future.
So just to be clear, this suicide bomber was going through the gate, being searched, checked by U.S. service members when he detonated his vest?
David, that would be my working assumption. I know this. He did not get inside. He did not get on the installation. It was at the interface point where they try to come in where this attack occurred. And we just don't know more right now. We're gathering that information. As you will understand, we're investigating that. But right now, our focus really, we have other active threat streams, extremely active threat streams against the airfield. We want to make sure that we've taken the steps we need to take to protect ourselves there. So our focus is on that. Over the next few hours, and day or two, we'll learn a lot more about what happened here. And I'm sure we'll be able to share that with you. Right now, our focus is actually going forward, ensuring that another attack of this nature does not occur. Because as you know, typically the pattern is multiple attacks. And we want to be prepared and be ready to defend against that.
You see that? Multiple attacks. Normally, this thing happens with multiple attacks. So this is not going to be the first attack, man. Right? With so-called U.S. men that have been killed. It's the book of 2 Esdras chapter 9 and verse 1. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself. So you have to measure the times that we're living in, man. We're living in very perilous times, man. It's not the times to be bucking up against your husband. It's not the time to be beating on your damn wife, man, ruling over it unjustly. It's not time to be secretly hating your brother or secretly hating your sister, man. It's not time to be slothful. It's not time to go to hell off, man. It's time to repent. It's time to understand by looking at all hell breaking loose on the earth what times we living in, man, and to measure those times diligently. In itself, and when thou seest a part of the signs past, what are those parts of the signs past? Everything that the Lord has prophesied all throughout the Bible. In Isaiah, you understand, the 19th chapter, Isaiah, the 24th chapter, right? Isaiah, right? All the 13th chapter, Jeremiah, the 28th chapter, the 27th chapter, the 26th chapter, all throughout the Bible. 2 Esdras, 15, 16. All of these are times and things prophesied that come to pass that is happening. Isaiah, the 25th chapter, it says what? Which I have seen the times past, which I have told thee before. Then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made, man. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars. This is an uproar right now. It's saying right now, coming next, President Biden delivers remarks on Kabul airport explosions, man. Right? So that's coming up next in the news. It says what? Then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time when the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes, uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. The Lord telling you plain upon tables that the end is manifest. It's right in front of your face, and we watching it unfold.
Courtney. Can you, hey, General McKenzie, it's Courtney QB from NBC News. Can you tell us a little bit more about these extremely real additional threats from ISIS? Is it a concern about more suicide attacks?
And then you go, like, ISIS, hey, these men, they don't care about their own lives. Think about this. You have Israelites that have fringes on, they got beards on their face, they got mitres on, they walking around with swords, they writing breakdowns, and they not going to die for Yahushua, man. They're not going to die for the Lord. You got women, they're making unleavened bread, right? They're seasoning up all the goodness, right? They're doing what they have to do. They got their jars, they got their dress on, right? They're in order, they're reverencing their husbands, and then that day they're going to give up the ghost for fear. They're not going to call on Yahushua. They're not going to be martyrs, man. Who going to raise up and be a martyr for Yahushua? But yet you have on the left-hand side, these men which have no gods, all they have is idols, weaponry, folly, foolishness, vanity, and corruption. And they're ready to die for what they believe in, man. Imagine walking inside somewhere knowing you're about to die and ripping a down bomb and calling upon Allah, man. Calling upon my nation, calling upon Afghanistan. And they truly love this, man. They're ready to die for the Lord. Then you got this out of order man, right? That's lukewarm. He don't want to read, pray, fast, and he treat his wife like trash. Then you have this out of order woman. She don't really love the Lord, because if she did, she would reverence her husband as unto the Lord. They're not going to make it, man. Then you have a brother that's literally in your congregation, or that you know as a brother, that secret hate in his heart. These men not going to make it. You have to be pure, undefiled, spotless, and not having no blemishes before the coming of the Lord, man. And if these men are ready to die for the Lord, it's like if these men are ready to die for their culture and what they believe in, how much more the men of the Lord? They have to be ready to die for the Lord, man. Let me get the book, right, of Revelation. It's the book of Revelation, chapter 2 and verse 13. And it reads, I'm going to start at 12. And to the angel of the church of Pergamos, right? You literally had the church of Pergamos, right? Which was one of the richest churches, you know what I'm saying, at the time. A regional northwest of Asia Minor during modern day Turkey, about 50 miles from Smyrna, right? During the Roman Empire. And it was one of the capital cities and derived from the Greek dynasty of the Eladian kings, right? During the Hellenistic period. Literally, that church during this time is where Satan's seat dwells, where it had a lot of witchcraft. They had all of these different deities and gods, right? They had Zeus, they had Dionysus, they had Antinous, and they had Aspiliculis, right? Salakia for the pronunciation, in their Greek gods. And that was literally the place where they had a uproar with a lot of temples of deities. It said these things saith which have the sharp sword with two edges, man. Yahweh, why Yahweh shout righteous. I know thy works, meaning everything that you do. The Lord knows your uprisings when you go to sleep. That's Psalms 139, verse 1 on down to the end of the chapter. The Lord knows you, whether you're really going to serve him or you're really going to die. These men were martyrs for the truth. And where thou dwellest, even where Satan's seat is, right, which is Pergamos, the capital city during the Roman Empire. And thou holdest fast my name and hast not denied my faith, even in those days when Antipas was my faithful martyr. Antipas was a martyr for Yahushua during the time of Pergamos in the Roman Empire. He was a bishop set up over the accountants of the Pergamos church in Providence, you understand, during the Roman Empire. He was literally a bishop, and he died for the Lord, man. He didn't die for vanity. He didn't die for his woman. He didn't die because he really loved that gold chain and he didn't want to be robbed. No, he died for the Lord, man. And you have these heathens dying for what they believe in, man. So when these uproars kick off, these men aren't scared to die. You understand? You got the U.S. commanding general saying, we're trying to, we have 5,000 men, trying to take over hundreds of civilians, and we're risking our men for their well-being. That's a U.S. service. Don't give a damn about no U.S. service, man. These ISIS men and Taliban, they don't care. They'll kill themselves and their children in the process to take you down. That's how much they love war, man. It says what? Was my faithful martyr, and whom was slain among you, where Satan dwelleth, man. So he was slain during this time, you understand, for the truth. But yet you have these men getting slain for their own agenda and uproars of the people, man. So you got to ask yourself, after dispensation of time being in this truth, what am I in this truth for? To look good, to wear fringes, to be popular, to be a prophet. What is my lot? Who am I, man? Who am I in this thing? We're servants, ready to be slain and killed for Yahweh Yahushua, man.
And also about some of the steps that you may be taking to mitigate future attacks. I mean, would it include putting U.S. troops or Marines outside the gates or outside of the airport for additional perimeter security? And then finally, with all of this, is there any discussion about sending any additional U.S. troops to Kabul airport for additional security measures?
So let me actually answer the last part of your question first. We assess we have the forces we need to protect ourselves there. I'm always in a constant dialogue with the secretary. If I needed anything else, I'd be talking to him immediately. But I think we have what we need to protect ourselves. So let's talk a little bit about the threat streams. So very, very real threat streams, very, very what we would call tactical. That means imminent, could occur at any moment. And they
very, 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 from the commander, very, very possible threats.
Range from rocket attack.
From rocket attacks.
We know that they would like to lob a rocket in there if they could. Now, we actually have pretty good protection against that.
No, you don't.
We have our anti-rocket and mortar system, the gun systems that those of you who've been out there are very familiar with, that are pretty effective against these kinds of attacks.
We don't believe.
We are well positioned around the boundary of the airfield, and we feel that we would be in good shape should that kind of attack.
You know why he's saying this? To calm down the general public.
Occur. We also know they aim to get a vehicle-borne suicide attack in if they can, from a small vehicle to a large vehicle. They're working all those options. And then we just seen their ability to deliver a walk-in, a vest-wearing suicide attacker. All of those things we look at. Now, the other thing we do is we share versions of this information with the Taliban so that they can actually do some searching out there for us. And we believe that some attacks have been thwarted by them. Again, we've been doing this we've been doing this since the 14th. This is an attack that's been carried out. We believe it's possible that others have been thwarted. We cut down the information we give the Taliban. They don't get the full range of information we have, but we give them enough to act in time and space to try to prevent these attacks. The other thing we try to do is we try to push out the boundary even further so that we don't get large crowds massing at the gate. Clearly, at Abbey Gate today, we had a larger crowd there than we would like, which goes to show you that the system is not perfect. But we have gained large elements of standoff at other gates, and we want to keep that kind of standoff in place. As you know, standoff for attacks like this is always the best defense. Unfortunately, we just don't have the opportunity, given the geography of the ground that we're on, to always gain that kind of standoff. So let me close up your question by saying we take the threat of these attacks very seriously. We're working them very hard. We're doing a variety of things. We got, as you know, we have AH-64 attack helicopters on the ground that we're flying to take a look. They have very good thermal and optical imaging systems. We got aircraft overhead that also have very good imaging systems. We have unmanned aircraft, MQ-9s, that have the ability to look. All of these systems are being applied in defense of the airfield, all of them on a continual basis, all of them vectored by the intelligence that we receive, and then we also use the Taliban as a tool to protect us as much as possible.
I'm going to go to the phone, so I haven't done that yet. Alex Horton, Washington Post. Alex, you there?
Yep, just unmuting. Hey, General, this is Alex Horton with the Washington Post. Thanks for doing this. Can you give us a sense of where you are in casualty notification for these folks on the ground? How long you expect it to take, given that it's a large number? And also, can you talk a little bit about, how the forces have reacted? You said that you introduced a little, probably more standoff at this point, but what are other measures you're taking to increase security after the attack?
Sure. So I would actually defer you to the services for notification of casualties. That's a function that the services provide. And I believe that process is ongoing, but I do not have visibility on it. My visibility is fully forward against the day-to-day practical threat that we face in the theater. But there are other people who can probably then answer that question for you. I'm just not that person, Alex. So in terms of practical things that we're doing, okay, again, we've reached out to the Taliban. We've told them you need to continue to push out the security perimeter. We've identified some roads that we would like for them to close. They've identified that they will be willing to close those roads because we assess the threat of a suicide-borne vehicle threat is high right now. So we want to reduce the possibility of one of those vehicles getting close. And so we're actually...
And don't let these smooth words fool you, man. He's speaking all polite. He's in calm tension, right? He's relaxed. He's making it seem like nothing is going to transpire. We're going to work 24/7. These are all calm and smooth words, man. Right? And the Lord warned us of these smooth things, man. We can't literally be, okay, maybe everything's going to be all right, man. It's not going to be all right, man. Right? He's just a puppet, right? Damn Commanding General McKenzie, right? Kennedy McKenzie is a damn puppet, man. He just coming up to damn soothe you down, to calm you down, to make sure you think everything is all right, man. When they just literally said that they're not going to sleep nor day nor night, and they expect more bombs, and they'll do anything they could do to defend themselves, man. That sounds like more troops being literally sent to that land. It seems like more of a monarchy kicking off. It seems like more hell breaking loose, man. The book of Jeremiah, chapter 46, and verse number 5. Right? Book of Jeremiah, chapter 46, and verse 5. Wherefore have I seen them dismayed and turned away back, and their mighty ones are beaten down and are fled a space, and look not back, for fear was round about. Right? So, hey, man, fear is on these people, man. They don't know what to do. They're trying to invade. They're trying to get the hell up out of there. When does America start to be the one that runs, man? Right? Let me bring out this out. Because literally, I don't know if I could pull up this article. If I could pull this out real fast. Who has more nuclear weapons, US or Russia? The Federation of American Scientists estimate that Russia possesses 6,800 nuclear weapons, while the United States has 6,185. Russia and the United States each have 1,600 active deployed strategies of nuclear warheads, man. So these different nations that have more bombs and military might than the United States. So it's easier for them to flee, easier for them to get the hell up out of there, man. They're in their land. Let me read this again. And don't just think that's just Russia. The United States is just waxing worse. The dollar, the economy, the food, the famine, the pestilences that's going around, the job systems, all of this stuff is going down, man. We're living in very, very exciting times. It's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 46. I'm going to read 5 again. Wherefore I have seen them dismayed, meaning they don't know what to do. They're confounded and turned away back, and their mighty ones are beaten down, right, destroyed, and are fled apace. And look not back, for fear was round about, saith the Lord. Let not the swift flee away, nor the mighty men escape. They shall stumble and fall toward the north by the river of Euphrates, man. So they're not going to escape this thing. Literally, America's in talks of war with various nations. You had it a year ago, if not a little bit less, they was in talks with North Korea, man. So you have North Korea setting their minds and their demonic spirit against the U.S. You have Russia. You can look this up right now. You have Russia on the coast of Florida right now. You have Russian spies, man. Let me see if I can pull that out, if that's even in the news anymore. Lock it. South Florida congregational leaders see the presence of the Victor Livion of Russia Renaissance and of the communication ships as a display of military power of the state shore. Why are they down here? A Russian spy ship has been spotted off the coast of Florida. What is it doing there? They're spying, right? Don't think they don't have submarines under the damn ocean right now, man. Don't be a nigga in this truth. Oh, hate Esau, hate Esau, hate Esau. I love my brother, the end. No, man, you get in the world news. You understand what these Russians are doing. North Korea is doing. You understand what the government is. Hey, you got to know the damn commander general name, man. Damn McKenzie. Damn goofy, naked-faced McKenzie don't know what's going on, man. Right? You got to figure these things out. You have Russia that has more military might than the United States. You have Russian spies on the coast of Florida right now. You have Donald Trump beefing with North Korea, you understand, less than a year and a half ago. And now you have what? The Dragons of Arabia in an uproar. And you tell me we're not living in the end, man. I'm gonna read on from there. Who is this that cometh up as a flood, whose waters are moved as the rivers, and men are floods? Proceeding to the book of Isaiah 59 and 19, the book of Psalms chapter 18 and verse number 4. Men are floods. And the Lord is saying, who is this coming up like a flood? It's not just going to be one person to bomb the United States. They're literally going to be a confederacy of men leagued together. You understand? Reading on. Egypt rising up like a flood, and its waters are moved like the rivers. And he saith, I will go up, and I will cover the earth. I will destroy the city and the inhabitants thereof, man. Let's go back to it.
Aggressively to do that. We talked a little bit about the overwatch that we have in place, but I'll review it again. We have our unmanned aircraft, our MQ-9s, and other unmanned drone systems that have very good optical and other means of looking down. So we look at what's happening around the gate. We try to identify patterns, and we got highly trained people that take a look at that. We also have our aircraft that we fly locally, the AH-64s that I mentioned a few moments ago, as well as other manned aircraft that come off the USS, off the carrier that we have off the Makran coast, as well as U.S. Air Force aircraft that we bring up from out of Afghanistan. Everything ranging from F-15s to AC-130 gunships. And as you know, the AC-130 gunship has a very highly capable targeting system, and it's also a very visible platform. And we know from long experience that visible demonstration of these kinds of ISR tends to dissuade the attacker, because they know that if we can see them do it, we're going to strike them immediately. So we'll be prepared to do that should it become necessary to defend the base. We're looking very hard. We assess we are in a period of heightened warning right now, and we're working through that as aggressively as we can. Over.
Gordon. General Gordon Wolf on Wall Street Journal. Can you tell us if you think that your recommendation for staying potentially after August 31st would change because of this threat stream? Or are you concerned about the threat stream? And also, you know, the U.S. military and the Taliban have been coordinating very closely on various things. Do you still trust the Taliban? And is it?
Man, look at Esau, man. He look like a damn parrot bird, man. A damn white parrot bird, right? And this is God's chosen people, right? Right. Got Esau, man, looking like a bird, man. Right? Right? And we don't believe what you're saying, Esau.
It's possible that they let this happen.
So as to whether or not they let it happen, I don't know. I don't think there's anything to convince me that they let it happen. As to whether or not I trust them, that's not necessarily that's a word I use very carefully.
No, you don't trust them,
it's
man.
not what they say, it's what they do. They have a practical reason for wanting us to get out of here by the 31st of August. And that's that they want to reclaim the airfield. We want to get out by that day too, if it's going to be possible to do so. So we share a common purpose. As long as we've kept that common purpose aligned, they've been useful to work with. They've cut some of our security concerns down, and they've been useful to work with going forward. Now, long term, I don't know what that's going to be. I will tell you this: anytime you build a non-combatant evacuation plan like this, and you bring in forces, you expect to be attacked. So we expect. We thought this would happen sooner or later. It's tragic that it happened today. It's tragic there was this much loss of life. We are prepared to continue the mission. I've had a great opportunity to have dialogue with my chain of command on it, and I'm not going to be able to share with you what my advice has been, as you know and understand, Gordon. But I think we can continue to conduct our mission even while we're receiving attacks like this. Over.
Eric? Eric Schmidt with the New York Times. Even before today's attack, you were just 4 days or so from leaving. How soon will you have to start diminishing the evacuation flights, if indeed those can continue, to make space and time for the military retrograde, that is the withdrawal of the remaining troops there and their equipment?
So, Eric, without getting into specifics, I would tell you that the plan is designed to maximize throughput of evacuees even as we begin to prepare to draw down the force on the ground. So we recognize there's a need to balance the two. So we're not going to get to a point where suddenly we turn off the spigot. It will draw down as we get closer to the end date. It's not useful for me to share that date with you right now when we will begin to draw down those flights, but we will do it at some point.
Right, so the Lord doesn't have mercy on the inhabitants of the earth, man. Lord don't care about these nations, this landmass, their governments, their officials. Right, it's the book of Ezekiel, chapter 7, and I'm going to start at verse 3. Now is the end come upon thee, and I will send mine anger upon thee, and I will judge thee according to thy ways and will recompense upon thee, right, all thine abominations. And mine eyes shall not spare thee, neither will I have pity, but I will recompense thy ways upon thee, and thine abominations shall be in the midst of thee, and ye shall know that I am the Lord. Thus saith the Lord God, and evil, and only evil, behold, this come. So don't think in the latter days of the earth, man, it's going to be peace, man. Nothing from right now, if you just coming in the truth, from when the damn chariots come to destruction, you understand it's going to be nothing but war, pestilence, and violence, man. Let's get that in the book of Ezekiel. You understand the 2nd chapter. This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 2, and verse number 9. And when I looked, behold, a hand was sent unto me, and lo, a roll of a book was therein. And he spread it before me, and it was written therein, and without that there was written therein lamentations and mournings and woe. So what is the Bible about? You understand? Destruction, lamentations, mourning, and woe. That's what's going to happen on the latter face of this earth, man. Nothing but destruction, lamentations, mourning, and woe. Ezekiel 7 verse 6. And end is come, the end is come. It watcheth for thee, behold, it is come. So the Lord said, look, the end is come, the end is come. Behold, it watcheth for thee. So the end is watching you. These prophecies are unfolding every single day, man. Just know every single time you wake up and you out the spirit, there's going to be a prophecy coming to pass. There's going to be an event happening on the earth. And everything is in television eyes, man. Everything is not on TV. Everything's not on social media. Everything's not on YouTube. Everything's not on the internet, right? So you don't even have half a glimpse of the deaths, the murders, the treaties, the decrees, the government officials, them panicking, the monarchy, the uproars that's kicking off on the earth right now, man. Right? Let me hold this. Let me get to the book of Revelation, the 6th chapter. Because during the 4th seal, right, this beast will be running throughout the earth with nothing but death, man. It's the book of Revelation, chapter 6, and verse number 7. And when he had opened the 4th seal, I heard a voice of the 4 beasts say, come and see. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse. And his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him. And power was given unto them over the 4th part of the earth. 4 is the number of completion. Just like the Lord said, the 4 corners of the earth. Just like the Lord said, make fringes on the 4 quarters of your vesture. Just like this is the 4th part, you understand, that would be what? Literally completed of death over the earth. 3 things I have found beautiful. Yeah, 4 in the number of Proverbs, the 30th chapter. So 4 is a lower number of completion. Of the earth to kill with the sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth. So that's linking up right now for what's going on. And just like the Lord said, when all of these things kick past, then they shall deliver you up. And what's the next seal to kick on up? The 5th. So from the 4th seal to the 5th seal, and from what the Lord said in Matthew 13, Luke 21, Matthew 24, the next thing to kick off is us getting delivered up, man.
Same time, I want to emphasize.
And open your eyes up, man. Look, let me kick this off. People think it's going to be one day of the famine. It's going to be March the 9th, or then September 5th, or December 29th is the famine of the word. Then it just kicked off. No, the famine is already here, man. Right? There are already 52 countries that already banned the Bible. All right, see if I can get some statistics on that. All right, I see 50 countries where you cannot be a Christian. Right? 52 countries where the Bible is illegal. They're already killing people for having a Bible app on their phones, man, in Saudi Arabia. From the ISIS. Bibles, dangerous, illegal, convert. So these are some places around the world where it's illegal to have the Bible, man. They're going to stop selling the book of life, you understand? if you don't have 99 Bibles, if you don't have it in your mind, if you're not on fire, if you're not diligent, if you don't really hold true to these words, right? You're not ready to die, to cleave to it and not let it go, and you're not gonna make it, man. You got Afghanistan, Iran, Kazakhstan, right? Kyrgyzstan, Mizrahi, right? North Korea, Saudi Arabia. All of these different places where it's either hard to get, illegal, right? Or it's been banned from the bookshelf. Iraq, Niger, Pakistan, Syria, Turkey, right? All of these are places. So this famine of the world is already kicking off, man. It is going to bite a lot of people unaware when Esau bang down your door and snatch you up, because you're going to think, oh, what the famine of the world? I thought I had so much time, so many prophecies to kick back. I thought all hell didn't break loose yet. No, all of these things are already throughout the earth. Just because it's not happening in your backyard, at your local grocery store, at your local Barnes and Noble, at your local library, at your local grocery store, at your local places that you go every day, don't mean it's not happening on a vast scale throughout the earth, man. Kids are being killed. People are being held prisoners, right? Hey, the earth is in shambles. The fourth seal with this little pale horse, this beast, is running to and fro with plagues, pestilence, violence, uproars, and blood. It's already kicking off, man. And that next thing to open up is what, man? Them prison camps, Jacob's trouble, and it hitting the United States, man. I just wanted to bring that out in case brothers and sisters didn't know that, man. Right? We have to continue to watching this thing.
Size again, the plan is designed to maximize pushing people out, even as we reconfigure the force, continue to defend ourselves, and get ready to bring out our own equipment, ultimately our own military personnel.
And General, if I could just follow up on that, will you have to also develop alternative routes beyond those that you already have to get the remaining Americans in Kabul who want to leave safely to the airport?
So I would tell you that we have worked over the last week. We have brought in hundreds of Americans by working alternate routes to get them in, by establishing contact with them, by directing them down a steady different ways to get to the airport. Our task force, our JSOC element, does that on the ground very effectively in coordination with Admiral Vaisley, who's the overall commander there. So we continue to do that. That's not something that we're beginning now. We've done that all along, and we will continue to do that up until the last moment.
Jennifer. General McKenzie. Jennifer Griffin, Fox News. Can you say, was there one or two suicide bombers at the Abbey Gate? And can you say for certain that it was a male bomber? And can you give us any more details about the second explosion that occurred at Barron Hotel? Was that a VBID? Was that a car bomb? Or was that also a suicide bomber? Finally, there are State Department employees who are side by side with U.S. Marines at that gate. Were there any other U.S. citizens killed in the attack? And why were the Marines so close together that so many were killed in one strike?
So we think one suicide, well over a week, we brought 104,000 people out. That's a tremendous number of contacts that every individual Marine, soldier, or sailor has had to have as we bring people aboard the airfield. It's a very heavy heart, that I do this conversation with you today. Nobody feels it more than me or the other members of the chain of command. We'll do everything we can to improve our practices there, to make sure it's as safe as possible for our folks on the ground that are doing this dirty, dangerous work. John, thanks very much.
Thank you, General. Thank you all. Appreciate it.
John, will you take a couple questions?
No, that's going to be it.
So there you hear the Pentagon briefing there. General Kenneth McKenzie, head of U.S. CENTCOM, in command of the operation in Kabul airport, briefing reporters on the very grim news that 12 U.S. service members have been killed, 11 Marines, 1 Navy medic, and 15 more U.S. service members have been wounded. General McKenzie saying that this happened in the attacks today at the Kabul airport. Twin suicide bombings, or he certainly confirmed one is a suicide bombing at the Abbey Gate, the other at a nearby hotel, the Baron Hotel. He declared was a large explosion, but had not been able to determine whether there was a suicide bombing, a truck bombing, or other. The bottom line is the general said, General McKenzie said, this mission will continue. He praised the courage of the U.S. service members who were right there at the front gate, at the front line. He said they have to get right up to people to make sure those people are the right people to get onto the airfield, and that carried with it inherent risks. And I want to go to ABC News political director Rick Klein on this for a moment. Rick, if I can ask you the impact of this, we hear the general saying we can and will continue this mission, as well as saying we will retaliate. He says we are looking for 24/7 who these people are who conducted, if we can assign responsibility.
Right, he's looking to retaliate, man. On this mission, he's looking to retaliate.
We will respond. Do you think the commander-in-chief feels the same way, that the mission will continue to the end and that it's time to start shooting again in Afghanistan?
Well, it's a very stark choice that's laid out for President Biden, who we haven't heard from in a formal capacity yet today in the wake of this, Terry. I am curious what his response is, whether there's contingencies, whether he starts to heed some of the calls to push that August 31st deadline back. You didn't hear that from General McKenzie. I thought General McKenzie was very stark outlining of the stakes and the hurdles, the obstacles at this moment, to say that we know that there are going to be other attempted terrorist attacks on our troops. He says there's no need at this time for any additional military presence. But yes, it raises the prospect of shooting again involving U.S. forces. This is the situation that the White House has been warning about. It is ultimately the worst case scenario that has come to pass. An incredibly tragic and an awful day, and I think some determination we're hearing from the military to try to continue with this, but no guarantee that the worst of it is behind us, not by any stretch.
It is one of the deadliest days for U.S. forces in recent years. And I'd like to bring in now Mahbouba Siraj, a journalist and women's rights advocate in Afghanistan. After 26 years in exile, she returned home to...
Right, and it's the book of 2nd Esdras, right? Chapter 7 and verse number 43. And this is a great day in American history, because America's never been touched, man. You got 12 people in Afghanistan that died this morning. That's not on their news, because their bodies is dropping so fast and at a fast rate that it doesn't even make news, man. Right? But America's so undefiled that hasn't been touched that this is just so big and so major. Think when it really hit the fan. When the White House got bombed, nuclear threat, suicide bomber has bombed the pencil, has bombed the statue, has bombed this, has bombed that, has invaded the course and have utterly controlled and manipulated the whole damn city, man. This is the book, 2nd Esdras, chapter 7, verse 43. But the day of doom shall be the end of this time and the beginning of immortality to come. So, hey, the closer we are to the day of doom is the closest we are to immortality. So brothers got to ask themselves, do you really want all hell to break loose? That's the number one question. Am I scared? Am I too fearful? This is too much. Yeah, I like watching it, eating chips from the outside looking in. Oh, that's a third world country. It'll never hit here. I'm going to keep prophesying in the comfort of my backyard, at the comfort of my local city, on my local street. I'm going to shake the hand on Esau all day, look mighty. Hey, well, no, brother, these things are going to come to pass, man. All hell breaking loose, and it's not even at that type of rate where we reading about in the scriptures. Hey, but literally, man, that thing is going to come to pass. Let's go to the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 7 and verse 43. But the day of doom shall be the end of this time and the beginning of the immortality for to come, wherein corruption is past. So all the corruption of this world is going to pass, man. It's going to pass away. All the death, the murder, the killings, all of these things are going to come to pass, man. And it will be over and done with. Right? It says intemperance is at an end, infidelity is cut off, righteousness is grown, and truth is sprung up. So when these things kick off and these bombs hit and World War III is on the rise and all of the seals have been sealed, right? All the way to 7 for the trumpets to begin to blow. Again, corruption and everything is going to pass, and immortality literally for the saints is for to come, man. Brothers got to get ready for this, man. You should be hastening to flee from these times, like the scripture said. Let me get that real fast. Right? Let me get that real fast. This is the book of 2 Peter, right? Start at verse 3 and verse 12. Looking and hasting unto the coming of the day of God. So we got to look and haste to this by watching these times, getting into the world news, praying for destruction. You literally got to pray and recite Iraq, man. Praying for destruction. Right? Let me get that. The book of Sirach, chapter 36. There's literally a prayer for the saints for the destruction of your enemies, man. Reading on. Looking for and hasting unto the coming of the day of God, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved and the elements shall melt. Right? Fervent heat, man. We looking to hasten toward that, man. And this is the book of Sirach, chapter 36, and verse number 1. Have mercy upon us, O Yahweh, God of all, and behold us. So we living in the days of faith, man. So when these things kick off, we're not going to be able to call for counsel. We're not going to be able to hold, a council of men to get you back in the spirit. You're not going to be able to willingly fast because the famine will be on the earth. You're not going to be able to willingly do these things at this rate on the earth. Why? It says what? Have mercy upon me, upon us, O Yahweh, God of all, and behold us. Because all hell going to be breaking loose. Now it's time to get your faith together, to be on fire. You understand? The Lord has given us this grace period, not only for our sins, but to get our spirit right before our hell break loose, man. Lifting up thy hand against the strange nations. Right? The strange nations. Salaki. It says, lifting up thy hand against the strange nations and let them see thy power. So we want the Lord literally to raise up and show his hand on all of these strange nations. That's the pestilence. That's all bombings and various places. That's the Lord showing his hand. I don't think the Lord just got to show you his hand the way he wants you to show you his hand, man. He's Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. He's going to show you from prophecy in days of old, right? It says what? Lift up thy hand against the strange nations and let them see thy power. As thou wast sanctified in us before them, so be thou magnified among them before us. I'm going to read that again. As thou wast sanctified in us before them, meaning what? Crossing the Red Sea, smiting the enemy, right? Samson slaying thousands of men, you understand? With a damn jaw of a donkey, you understand? Jawbone going crazy, doing the works of the Lord. You got David killing 10,000s of men, right? You got Moses waging war on the Amalekites. You got Joshua killing all of these coasts, putting their feet on his neck and hanging those men with ropes around their neck. You understand? Our forefathers, Mattathias, right? All of the men doing the work of the Lord. And just like we were magnified in the days when the Lord was upon us, it says what? And let them know thee as we have known thee. Meaning, let these nations know the Lord like we know the Lord, man. We know his terror. We know his plagues. And the Lord killed Egypt and plagued it with 10 major plagues, man. Got darkness, right? All beast, blood. Hey, let these nations know, hey, that it's a God on the earth, man. The God of the Israelites. It says what? It says, and let them know thee as we have known thee, that there is no God but only thou, O Yahweh. Shew new signs. So what is Sirach prophesying in a prayer? For the destruction of the enemy, saying, show new signs. Imagine praying for the Lord and praying to the Lord, show new signs. Blow up the White House. Destroy the pencil. Destroy these cities. Kill Moab. Kill Elam. Going crazy. You got to literally hate these nations. Right? A brother asked me before, if I don't hate Esau, right, am I going to be saved? Well, brother, the elect is going to hate Esau. The Lord said, Literally, thou shalt wash thy feet in the blood of the wicked. This honor have all his saints. You understand? Praise ye the Lord. Putting chains around about their neck. If you don't hate these nations, if you're not praying for destruction, if you really don't care, if you want to go back to work, you want the gym to open back up, and you want a nice smoothie, and you want to relax and go to the bar, hey, brother, you're not going to make it, man. So Iraq is saying show new signs and make other strange wonders. We want eclipses. We want blood moons. We want damn fire raining down, man. We wanted the thunder for 5 nights straight out of nowhere for no apparent reason. We want more earthquakes. We want the Lord to continue to speak through the saints on the earth because that's how he speaks to us, through the prophecy and through the signs. You understand? This is how we understand the time is drawing nigh. It says what? Shew new signs and make other strange wonders. Glorify thy hand and thy right arm. Because it may feel like the Lord isn't magnifying himself like he did when we read in the Bible. How he killed off Pharaoh, you understand? Slayed the Egyptians. How he destroyed literally the Greeks, man. How he destroyed the Babylonians via the Persians and the Medes, man. How he destroyed all of these ancient empires, the Assyrian, you understand, the Egyptian, Tyre, Zidon, through the hand of the Babylonians, you understand? All of these things, hey, Lord, magnify your arm, your strength. Now, everything that we read about is nothing but beautiful, beautiful prophecy and a long drum roll to the day of the Lord. From the time of Genesis all the way to the time of Revelation. It's not one book you don't read about Yahweh or death, persecution, violence, and war in the Bible, man. From Genesis to Revelations. Nothing but slavery, mourning, death, woe, restitution for the 12 tribes of Israel, right? I'm going to read that again. Show new signs and make other strange wonders. Glorify thy hand and thy right arm, that thou mayest set forth thy wonderful works. Raise up indignation and pour out wrath. So Sirach is praying for destruction, man. How many people pray for destruction? How many people look at this? Oh, man, it's in an uproar. Oh, man, we get close to the end. Then they close up the live. They close their Bible, and they watch the Parkers all day, man. It say what? Show new signs. I can't stop reading that. And make other strange wonders. Glorify thy hand and thy right arm, that thou mayest set forth thy wonderful works. Raise up indignation. So the Lord is saying through his servants, the prophets, through a prayer to raise up hatred. Somebody asks you why you hate. That's not in the Bible. Hey, man, a minute, the Lord gonna be praying for that. They're gonna be praying for Elam to get destroyed. They're gonna be praying for their enemies and their demise. They're gonna be praying for more earthquakes and more dead bodies, man. But I don't know about this truth. It's getting kind of vile. When does the Lord say to kill? The Lord doesn't speak like that. Well, you don't know the Lord, man. You don't know the God of Israel. You don't know Yahweh Shem Yahweh the righteous, man. You don't know the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, man. You don't know the Prince of Peace. You understand? You don't know the Most High God, the terrible one. You understand? The Holy One. You don't know him, man. Because if you did, everybody would join together, put all the folly aside, get on fire, declare fasts, and pray for the destruction of our enemies and literally the day of doom so immortality can come. It can come, man. It says, raise up indignation and pour out wrath. Take away the adversary and destroy the enemy, man. So every time you pray, you got to pray to survive the famine. You got to pray for grace and mercy. Hey, the last thing you should be praying for is just infinite knowledge and wisdom. Just want to be vain. You want to know everything. What good is that going to do when you're in the damn wilderness, right in the middle of nowhere, and you know how to break down all of Daniel, but you have no faith. You have no belief. You have no charity. You understand? You have nothing that will sustain you over the finish line via your works that you have already worked. It says what? Raise up indignation and pour out wrath. Take away the adversary and destroy the enemy. Make the time short. What does Sirach pray that will happen in the last days? Make the time short. Aren't you tired of going to work every day? I'm tired of seeing rumors of war. I'm like, well, okay, now I'm kind of ready for something to happen, man. Humbly speaking, and Lord willing, that spirit is on me in that day, and I survive because I could be overthrown. Everybody watching this could be overthrown. Hey, we want to make the time short, man. Right? Let me hold this real fast. Let me go to 1 Peter. right? It's the book of 1 Peter chapter 1 and verse 5. It says what? Who are kept by the power of Yahweh through faith unto salvation, ready to be revealed in the last times, wherein ye greatly rejoice, now for a season, if need be, ye are in heaviness through manifold temptations. So don't let the temptations of this life and this world, whatever it is, tackle you down and blind you from living in the end. That the trial of your faith, being much more precious than fine gold, that perish, though it be tried with fire, might be found unto praise and honor and glory at the appearing of Yahushua. Jump into verse 10. Of which salvation the prophets have inquired. So the men of the Lord are going to be inquiring the breakdown, inquiring the prophecy, inquiring coming toward the end. Of which salvation the prophets have inquired and searched diligently. So are you searching diligently the times? Are you a watchman? Not on a physical camp. I'm talking about on a mainfold level like the Lord told us to do. Watch, I say, watch, man. Right? It says the prophets have inquired and searched diligently who prophesied of the grace that should come unto you. Right? Let me hold Sirach 36 and go to the book of 2nd Esdras chapter 4 and verse 35. The book of Sirach, the book of 2nd Esdras chapter 4 and verse 35. And it reads, did not the souls also of the righteous ask questions of these things in their chambers, saying, how long shall I hope on this fashion? So the righteous are going to be saying, how long am I going to hope for immortality? Right? Like the Lord said, I would have had fainted unless I put my trust in thee, man. You understand? Reading on. How long shall I hope on this fashion? When cometh the fruit of the floor of our reward, man? So when cometh the reward? When cometh the death of the so-called white man? When cometh us trumping his damn blood into pieces? When cometh America being utterly overthrown? Right? The Lord is showing his beautiful signs and wonders, but it be 12 Edomites killed. The World Trade Centers got bombed. Be something real subtle, right? The Capitol building got overthrown. These are things that we enjoy, we see, right? But on a mainfold level, we ready for something. We want a bomb to drop, man. We want the whole thing to be destroyed. It says what? Verse 36. And unto these Uriel the archangel gave them answer and said, even when the number of seeds is filled in you, forward, he have weighed the world in the balance. So everything's weighed in a balance. The Lord is dealing with just balance. What is weighed in a balance? Right? Your works, what you're doing, and you may be the elect, but you haven't reached the peak of your perfection in the ministry. You may have more teaching to do, more breakdowns to know, more sealing to do as far as the other ones that are elected, more charity, more loving, more feast days, whatever the case may be, you have to bring forth more fruit. Just like Esau, he has to bring forth more fruit on the left-hand side. More killing, more destruction, more war, more famines, more pestilence, more diseases that he makes, right? More chemtrails, more secret councils, more all of these things, right? Everything is weighed in a balance. So when the destruction, right, all the temperance and the wickedness and everything has reached this peak, as far as the righteous being sealed, the 144,000, 12,000 of each tribe, then cometh what? The fruit of our reward. Because everything is sown and now everything is brought forth fruit. It says what? The angel gave them answer. Even when the numbers of seeds is filled in you, we have weighed the world in the balance. By measure have he measured the times, and by number have he numbered the times. So the Lord numbered the times. You know, all hell could break loose and World War III kick off in a year on a mainfold level to destroy America. That literally can happen. It will be a set appointed time to where it kicks off. You can't say, I need more time, Lord. You know, I'm tired. You know, my spirit not right. Please, please. No, you had all of this time. Been in this truth 8 months. Been in this truth 2 years. Been in this truth 3 days, man. Right? That's long enough to watch this and for the spirit to hit you, for you to cast off that old garment, put that cigarette down, put that weed away, treat your damn woman right? Right? Treat your husband right and be on fire. The Lord don't have to give you anything. Who is man that thou art mindful of him, man? Who the hell am I to even be a teacher? Who are you to be able to receive these words of life? Who are any of us to bear witness in this truth, man? We're all dust and ashes. It's through the grace of Yahweh Yahushua, Yahweh Shema Mashiach, Wamalak Yahushua, the righteous, that we even here, that we even woke up this morning, that we even breathe, that we even understand in the times that we're living in. If you take all of this mercy, all of this grace, all of this understanding about prophecy, do nothing with it, you deserve the sword, man. Reading on. By measure have he measured the times, and by number have he numbered the times. And he doeth not move, meaning the Lord not going to move in the third heaven. He doeth not move, nor stir them up, right? So like he stir them until the said measure be fulfilled. So it has to be a set number of wickedness that come on the earth. That's why the Lord says all throughout the scriptures, this is the beginning of sorrows, because it has to be a measure of sorrows completed for the amount of destruction to kick forth, man. Right? Let's go to the book of Revelation, the 14th chapter. It's the book of Revelation, chapter 14, and verse number 18. I'm going to start at 16. I'm going to start at 15. Kind of getting real. It's the book of Revelation, chapter 14, and verse 15. And another angel came out of the temple crying with a loud voice. And to him that sat on, Salaki, that sat on the cloud, thrust in thy sickle and reap. What do you do when you reap? Because the harvest is already ripe. Go ahead and reap it, right? For the time is come for thee to reap, for the harvest is ripe. What if the Lord came back 4 years ago when you was in the world? You would have got destroyed. The Lord had mercy on us to come into this thing, for us to bring forth fruit for an appointed season and time to be plucked. Do you go outside a watermelon and you pluck it and it's immature? You take the grapes off the vine and they're extremely small. You take the little teeny orange off the orange tree. Though you want it nice, you want it juicy, you want it ripe. And men are trees. So you bring forth your amount of works, your action, you understand? Your faith, your endurance, your love, your hatred towards these nations. And it all comes in pleasant fruit to the time of it to be ripe. And the Lord plucks you, you understand, on a spiritual level and saves you from that tree that's about to be burned. Reading on. And he said, and it sat on the cloud, thrusting his sickle on the earth, and the earth was reaped. And another angel came out of the temple, which is in heaven, he also having a sharp sickle. And another angel came out of the temple, Salaki, the altar, which had power over fire, cried with a loud cry to him that sat on the sharp sickle, saying, thrust in thy sharp sickle and gather the clusters of the vine of the earth, for her grapes are fully ripe. You understand? So you have to fully come into this thing on the right-hand side. So you can't be half fruit, you know, I got fruit on the tree, you know, got a little hole in it, still jealous, you know, I'm still a drunkard, you know, I'm still a thief, I'm still a murderer. You can't have half fruit. You either come towards perfection and fully ripe, or that fruit that you brought forth. And you may know how to break down Revelation, Daniel, Ezekiel, Isaiah, you understand? Haggai, Zechariah, all of the prophets, right? But yet what? You didn't reach the number of completion for the set amount that the Lord has measured, and you get destroyed, man. Going back to the book of Sirach, chapter 36, right? And verse number 8. Sirach, chapter 36 and verse 8. Make the time short. Remember the covenant, and let them declare thy wonderful works. So we want the time to be short and the Lord to confirm which he has from old, the covenant of peace that he's going to make with us, of immortality, of us ruling the earth, of us having slaves, man, of us coming back right from the heaps and dust and ashes that we fell from. It says what? Let him escapeth be consumed by the rage of the fire, and let them perish that oppress the people, man. Smite and sunder the heads of the rulers. That's what we want, man. When we see this news, President Biden delivers remarks of Kabul airport explosion, right? When we see that Donald Trump in the past having incorrupt conversations with Kim Jong-un, right, in North Korea, when we see the Taliban and ISIS and everything in the uproar and all hell breaking loose and the dragons of Arabia running around like wild boars, we get excited, man. And we want the Lord to commit the covenant that he has had from old, man. It says what? Smite and sunder the heads of the rulers of the heathen, that say there is none other but we, man. And that's what they say. There's none other but we. Who's going to save the children of Israel? Who's going to deliver them? We run the earth. You understand? But Yahweh Shem Yahushua, you're going to crack the sky with the thousands upon thousands of angels, which are 10,000 times 10,000, over 100 million angels. You understand? Even thousands of thousands, which is a number of completion, utterly destroy this place, man.
Afghanistan at the end of 2003 to work with women to build a new country, to work with women and children ever since. Mahbouba, thank you for being here on what is a very difficult day in Afghanistan. I hope that you and your loved ones are all safe.
Thank you so very much. It's been a very difficult day, actually, all around. It's been a difficult day for the United States as well. It's absolutely terrible, to lose all of those lives, all of the Marines and everybody else around. And then the lives of all of these Afghans, men and women and children and young people, that they got all, wounded and they died. It is a horrible situation.
It is, and it's just horrific. And Mahbouba, I wanted to ask you about the work that you've done now for the better part of 2 decades, giving so much of your life and
commitment. But unfortunately, this looks a huge tragedy. But I hope, I'm very
we want to see Joe Biden's remarks on this.
Tonight, it's believed that ISIS-K and ISIS affiliate
President Biden to address deadly attacks in Kabul. Breaking news live. News special report.
In Afghanistan now claiming responsibility. They're a sworn enemy, not only of the U.S., but the Taliban. The Pentagon saying the bomber detonated near the Abbey Gate at the airport. That's one of the main entrances. That area, of course, packed with people desperate to get out of the country. ISIS gunmen then firing into the crowd. Another explosion taking place outside at a nearby hotel. It's believed dozens of Afghan civilians were also killed. The president, as you know, has been warning of the potential for an attack, the growing terror threat for days. And here's the president entering the East Room at the White House, prepared to address the American people on this loss.
A tough day. This evening in Kabul, as you all know, terrorists attacked that we've been talking about, worried about, that the intelligence community has assessed, has undertaken an attack by a group known as ISIS-K.
And he looked like he just woke up from a damn nap, man. He don't care. He just came out of the damn lab drinking human blood. He stumbles from his long nap and wakes up to console the civilians in America that are losing their minds and are worried.
Took the lives of American service members standing guard at the airport and wounded several others seriously. He had also wounded a number of civilians, and civilians were killed as well. I've been engaged all day in constant contact with the military commanders here in Washington, the Pentagon, as well as in Afghanistan and Doha. And my commanders here in Washington in the field have been on this with great detail, and you've had a chance to speak to some so far. The situation on the ground is still evolving, and I'm constantly being updated. These American service members who gave their lives, it's an overused word, but it's totally appropriate here, were heroes. Heroes who've been engaged in a dangerous, selfless mission to save the lives of others. They're a part of an airlift, an evacuation effort unlike any seen in history.
Not that we invaded a land we have no business being in. We corrupted, right? Literally cities. And when they retaliate and bomb after us being there, we have no business being there.
And others
they come out to be the heroes.
In the last 11 days. Just in the last 12 hours or so, another 7,000 have gotten out. They're a part of the bravest, most capable, the most selfless military on the face of the earth. And they're part of simply what I call the backbone of America. They're the spine of America.
The backbone of America.
The best the country has to offer. Jill and I, our hearts ache, like I'm sure all of you do as well, for all those Afghan families who lost loved ones, including small children, or been wounded in this vicious attack. And we're outraged as well as heartbroken. Being the father of a Army major who served for a year in Iraq, and before that was in Kosovo as a U.S. attorney for the better part of 6 months in the middle of a war. When he came home after a year, and families of these brave heroes are feeling today. You get this feeling like you're being sucked into a black hole in the middle of your chest. There's no way out. My heart aches for you. And I know this. We have a continuing obligation, a sacred obligation to all of you, families of those heroes. That obligation is not temporary, it lasts forever. The lives we lost today were lives given in the service of liberty.
America is finished, man.
The service.
You got the damn president of the United States sobbing and crying, saying how my heart sobs for the death of these men, right? Let anything happen to Israel, and we was in our land and somebody came to attack it. All the mighty men will round up, right? We will pray to the Lord. We will seek discernment, you understand? We will seek counsel. We will have the understanding through the prophecy and revealing through the servants of the Lord to come tell us that this is of the Lord, and we will go to war, man. Ain't sobbing for a damn thing. And Judas Maccabeus said, if our time be come, let us die manfully, and let us not stain our honor, man. So you have it. There you got Russia, right? You got all of these different countries. They have more military weapons than the United States. They have more nuclear warfare, man. They're getting bombed and rolled over, and they saying, look, at one point, yeah, we're going to try to skid up out here, and another point, we're going to defend ourselves. You got the commanding general, Kenneth McKenzie. He's confounded. You got the snake general of the whole United States, right? Joe Biden, he's confounded, right? And everybody don't know what to do. Let me go to the book of Isaiah, the 19th chapter, man. This nation is finished, man. It's absolutely finished. It's finished. The beast thing done kicked off. Ain't no coming back from the beast thing. Getting a stick in your arm. That's on the vast rate to the end. You understand? You have war that kicked off from the Saudi Arabia all the way from 1999 to 2021, still going on right now, man. You have the economy shifting and the US dollar dropping. Look these things up, man. Look these things up. US dollar is not what it used to be. In the economy of jobs and the systems and unemployment, it's on a vast rate. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 19 and verse number 16. In that day shall Egypt. What is Egypt? Is literally a spiritual way to say the United States, Babylon the Great, because Egypt is America all over again. You understand? In that day shall Egypt be like unto a woman. So the Lord said, look, America going to be like a woman in that day, right? She ain't going to know what to do. She's going to cleave over here. She's going to need help. Be covering her damn dress. She's going to be running. Can't nobody protect her. That's how America's becoming. These nations are rising up, you understand, and America's coming down. And in that day, Egypt going to be like a woman. It says what? In that day shall Egypt be like unto a woman, and it shall be afraid and fear because of the shaking of the hand of the Lord of hosts, which he shaketh over it. Meaning all of the plagues that's going to happen on the United States, literally Egypt, which is America, ain't going to have the answers. They're going to be scared. They're going to be running to and fro, man. And these other nations are going to rise up and smite it and utterly destroy it, man.
security, in the service of others, in the service of America. Like their fellow brothers and sisters in arms who died defending our vision and our values in the struggle against terrorism. Of the fall on this day, they're part of a great and noble company of American heroes. To those who carried out this attack, as well as anyone who wishes America harm, know this: we will not forgive. We will not forget. We will hunt you down and make you pay.
That's what I like to hear, man. That's what I like to hear, man. We love talks of war.
We will not forget.
See, that Satan came out of him. See, he was talking like a damn robot, right, since he came on, and then Satan just manifests even more, and his damn teeth start showing, his damn prickly hair start rising up, his skin start getting damn dry, and all hell start breaking loose.
We will not forgive.
He said we will not forgive.
We will not forget. We will hunt you down and make you pay. I will defend our interests and our people with every...
Hey, I gotta replay that one more time, man. Right?
We will not...
Right, because he woke up fully out of his nap. Right?
They're part of a great and noble company of American heroes.
America's finished.
To those who carried out this attack, as well as anyone who wishes America harm, know this: we will not forgive. We will not forget. We will hunt you down. We will not forget. We will hunt you down. We will not forget.
We will not forget. This is coming from the President of the United States, man. And don't think that these third world countries don't have TVs. They just play in the sand all day with sticks and they sword fight, man. They have TVs. They have news, right? They have microphones. They have satellites. Don't think they're not going to see this footage, man.
We will hunt you down and make you pay. I will defend our interests and our people with every measure at my command. Over the past few weeks, I know many of you are probably tired of hearing me say it. We've been made aware by our intelligence community that the ISIS-K, an arch enemy, the Taliban, people who were freed when both those prisons were opened, has been planning a complex set of attacks on the United States personnel. And
I don't want to touch on something he just said.
Planning a complex.
I want to touch on something he just said. He said their arch enemy. I'm gonna rewind it back a little bit more.
I know many of you are probably tired of hearing me say it. We've been made aware by our intelligence community that the ISIS-K, an arch enemy, the Taliban, people who were freed when both those prisons were opened.
He said them that have been freed once both of those prisons opened. Right? I got literally a text from somebody that used to be in the government, right? Literally, it says, Salakia, Taliban freed 1,000 of ISIS and Taliban prisoners who served the last 15 to 20 years. You understand? So that's when those things opened up that he's talking about, man. These are prisoners, refugee prisoners on the loose with guns and choppers. And they don't give a damn. And they're running around like wild boars.
Has been planning a complex set of attacks on the United States personnel and others. This is why, from the outset, I've repeatedly said this mission was extraordinarily dangerous, and on why I've been so determined to limit the duration of this mission. As General McKenzie said, this is why our mission was designed, this is the way it was designed to operate under severe stress and attack. We've known that from the beginning. And as I've been in constant contact with our senior military leaders, and I mean constant, round the clock, and our commanders on the ground throughout the day, They made it clear that we can and we must complete this mission, and we will. And that's what I've ordered them to do. We will not be deterred by terrorists. We will not let them stop our mission. We will continue the evacuation. I've also ordered my commanders to develop operational plans to strike ISIS-K assets, leadership, and facilities. We will respond with force and precision at our time, at the place we choose, in a moment of our choosing.
So he's saying they're going to respond back, right? We will not forget. We will hunt you down. Coming from Joe Biden and General Commander Kenneth McKenzie.
Here's what you need to know. These ISIS terrorists will not win. We will rescue the Americans in there. We will get our Afghan allies out, and our mission will go on. America will not be intimidated. And I have the utmost confidence in our brave service members who continue to execute this mission with courage and honor to save lives and get Americans, our partners, our Afghan allies out of Afghanistan. Every day when I talk to our commanders, I ask them what they need. What more do they need, if anything, to get the job done? As they will tell you, I granted every request. I reiterated to them today on 3 occasions that they should take the maximum steps necessary to protect our forces on the ground in Kabul. And I also want to thank the Secretary of Defense, the military leadership of the Pentagon, and all the commanders in the field. There has been complete unanimity from every commander on the objectives of this mission and the best way to achieve those objectives. Those who have served through the ages have drawn inspiration from the book of Isaiah, when the Lord says, "Whom shall I send? Who shall go for us?" From the book of Isaiah.
Hold on.
Objectives of this
You
mission.
don't hear what I thought I just heard.
And the best way to achieve those objectives. Those who have served through the ages have drawn inspiration from the book of Isaiah.
You're not drawing no inspiration from the book of Isaiah, man. And the book of Isaiah speaks against America. It's literally Isaiah the 13th chapter, the destruction of Babylon. You understand? Jeremiah, all in Isaiah, man. Jeremiah, Isaiah, Ezekiel, right? When you go through the book of Isaiah, that's the last thing you want to do is go to the book of Isaiah. The book of Isaiah, the 10th chapter, speaks about you and your decrees and your destruction. You understand? The book of Isaiah, you got the 14th chapter, you're going into slavery. Book of Isaiah, the 13th chapter, Babylon gets destroyed. Book of Isaiah, the 19th chapter, that speaks about Egypt. You got the book of Isaiah, the 21st chapter, going into destruction of Babylon, right? You got the book of Isaiah, the 24th chapter, going to destruction of America. Book of Isaiah, the 25th chapter, going that the cities will be at heaps, right? Book of Isaiah, the 27th chapter, going into the Lord would deliver us from the four corners and smite that crooked serpent Leviathan, which is America, the so-called white man on the twofold level, right? The book of Isaiah, the 30th chapter, not trusting into Egypt, right? The book of Isaiah 34, going to the destruction of Edom, man. And we could go all day till we eat the whole road. Don't speak about the book of Isaiah. The Lord said, "Who are thee?" Man, that's not quoted, man. Let's get it, man. Oh, we got the so-called white man. You don't understand the Lord, man. Only the chosen is going to understand Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushua, man. So you don't know the Lord, man. Nor his judgments. Nor what the Lord said that he would do. You understand? It's the book of Isaiah. So like it's the book of Psalms, chapter 50 and verse 16. But unto the wicked God saith, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes? The Lord says, man, to the wicked, what are you doing speaking about the words of the Lord? What are you doing prophesying? What do you do holding my Bible in your hand? But unto the wicked, Yahweh saith, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes? Or that thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth.
When the Lord says, "Whom shall I send? Who shall go for us?" The American military has been answering for a long time. "Here I am, Lord, send me." Who shall go for us?
Hold on, Salakia. Let's go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 6 and verse 8. Let's give the sense of what this demon is breaking down all wrong, man. The book of Isaiah, chapter 6, all right, and verse number 8. And it reads, also I heard the voice of the Lord saying, whom shall I send, and whom will go for us? Then said I, here am I, send me. You understand? And that's literally going into what? Isaiah getting the vision through the third heaven, through the cherubims that literally purged him through the cold when literally he was scared and he did not feel like he was able to be able to teach or have a vision of the third heaven. That's all that's going into. For him to manipulate and flip my forefathers and my Bible and our heritage is blasphemous, man. Right?
American military has been answering for a long time.
The U.S. military has been answering to Isaiah 6 and 8 for a long time.
The Lord says, whom shall I send? Who shall go for us? American military has been answering for a long time. Here I am, Lord, send me. Here I am, send me. Each one of these women and men of our armed forces are the heirs of that tradition of sacrifice, of volunteering to go in harm's way, to risk everything, not for glory, not for profit, but to defend what we love and the people we love.
This is blasphemy.
And I ask that you join me now in a moment of silence for all those in uniform and out.
Who's more proud than a so-called white man, man?
Military and civilian, who've given the last full measure of devotion.
And the Lord said, keep not silent, man. The Lord said, hold not your peace. We're not keeping silent, man. Let's go to the book of Isaiah. What are we being silent for when our people are getting destroyed? What are we being silent for when all hell been breaking loose on the earth, man? What are we being silent for when there's uproars and then pestilence throughout the earth? What the hell do we have to be silent for?
May God bless you all. May God protect the troops and all those standing watch for America. We have so much to do. It's within our capacity to do it. We just have to remain steadfast. Steadfast. We will complete our mission, and we will continue after our troops have withdrawn to find means by which we can find any American who wishes to get out of Afghanistan. We will find them and we will get them out. Ladies and gentlemen, they gave me a list here. The first person I was instructed to call on was Kelly O'Donnell of NBC.
You have said leaving Afghanistan is in the national interest of the United States. After today's attack, do you believe you will authorize additional forces to respond to that attack inside Afghanistan? And are you prepared to add additional forces to protect those Americans who remain on the ground carrying out the evacuation operation?
I've instructed the military, whatever they need, if they need additional force, I will grant it. But the military, from the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, the commanders in the fields, have all contacted me one way or another, usually by letter, saying they subscribe to the mission as designed to get as many people out as we can within the time frame that is allotted. That is the best way they believe to get as many Americans out as possible and others. And with regard to finding, tracking down the ISIS leaders who ordered this, we have some reason to believe we know who they are, not certain. And we will find ways of our choosing without large military operations to get them.
To get them with our large military operations.
Wherever they are.
Wherever they are. He said wherever they are, man. They could be in your room. He'll blow your house up, man. This is the pride of the so-called white man, right, wherever they are.
Trevor, Reuters.
Thank you, Mr. President. There's been some criticism, even from people in your party, about the dependence on the Taliban to secure the perimeter of the airport. Do you feel like there was a mistake made in that regard?
No, I don't. Look, I think General McKenzie handled this question very well. The fact is that we're in a situation, we inherited a situation, particularly since, as we all know, that the Afghan military collapsed 11 days before, in 11 days, that it is in the interest of, as McKenzie said, in the interest of the Taliban, that, in fact, ISIS-K...
You can tell how slow he's talking. He don't know what the hell he want to say out of his mouth. He confounded, right? He's confounded. Let's go to the Bible, man. The only truth that's on this earth. Not man, you understand? Not these nations, right? Not animals, not any damn doctor's degree, not no library, not science, right? Not computer, not in. This is the only truth on the earth. We're tired of listening to man, his lies. And this place is corrupt, man. It has to go, man. Like when Abraham pleaded, right? For all hell, you understand? Not to break loose. The Lord did not find one righteous man. Let's go to the book of Ezekiel, chapter 22. The Lord doesn't find nobody righteous, man. This place got to go. It's been corrupt too much. The book of Ezekiel, chapter 22, and verse, I'm going to start at 21. Yeah, I will gather you and blow upon you in the fire of my wrath, and ye shall be melted in the midst thereof. As silver is melted in the midst of the furnace, so shall ye be melted in the midst thereof, and ye shall know that I am the Lord, have poured out my fury upon you. Jump into verse 29. And people of the land have used oppression and exercised robbery and have vexed the poor. So the people of this land, man, they exercise oppression, they use robbery, and they do nothing but vex the poor, man. This place gotta go, man. Tired of going to work every day, paying rent, getting harassed, having ailments, right? All these diseases, seeing your people get destroyed, and the so-called white man in his pride upon his throne on the left-hand side when the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, man. It says what? And needy, yeah, they have oppressed the stranger wrongfully. I sought for a man among them. So the Lord is saying, out of all of these different nations, out of everybody, Elam, out of Moab, out of Ammon, right, out of all of these nations, I'm seeking one man that could stand up, right, for me not to destroy the earth. I'm looking for one man, and I sought for a man among them that should make up the hedge. I mean, you got all of the commanders, the generals, the captains, and stand in the gap before me for the land, that I should not destroy it. But I found none. What the Lord say? But I found none. The Lord's not going to find nobody in this place. That's why it has to be destroyed. Add unto your prayers, death unto America. Add unto your prayers, make the time short. Add unto your prayers, grace and mercy. Therefore have I poured out my indignation upon them. I have consumed them with the fire of my wrath. Their own way have a recompense upon their own heads, upon their heads, saith the Lord God, man. So the Lord is going to hasten to destroy this place speedily with literally brimstones, fire, pestilence, and vengeance, man. So brothers got to get their spirit right. Brothers got to stay on fire, and brothers have to be watching in the last days. Right? I'm going to bring out my last precept, right? And I'm going to continue to stay up on this, right? Because literally the commanding general, right, and all of the men of the government, they gave their say. Then you got the police, you understand, and the uproars in so-called Middle East, right, the confederacies. You got all of these men that are in an uproar, and now they're starting to speak out against these things. So I'm going to continue to watch on this, continue to watch also, Lord willing, if the prayer of the saints, magnify to the top, a war could kick off, man. This is what we want. Hey, what did Peter say? Literally, look, Hey, we praying and hoping and search diligently in the book of 1 Peter 1 and verse 5. What did Ezra say? 2nd Ezra chapter 4 and verse 35. Literally, the souls of the righteous ask questions diligently in their chambers about these things. What did Sirach say in the book of Sirach chapter 36, verse 5, 4, 6, and 7 on down? Literally, make this time short. We trying to get the hell up out of here, man. It's the book of Revelation, chapter 3 and verse number 2. Now, this is a commandment. Don't think the commandments are just in the first 5 books. You have to literally get the commandment from the Lord, man. Right? So, Lockie, bear with me. Right? We back at it. It's the book of Revelation, chapter 3 and verse 2. Be watchful. So the Lord has commanded the saints to be watchful, man. This isn't a game or a joke. You have to continuously watch in these last days. Because if you're not watching, hey, man, it's going to catch you like a thief in the night. Hold on, I know I said this was the last precept. Hey, but we have to understand how the Lord could come like a thief in the night, man. Let's go to the book of Revelation. Chapter 16 and verse number 15, the classic. Behold, I come as a thief. Why does the Lord come like a thief? Because brothers aren't sincerely watching to understand what's befalling on the earth, man. Because if you're not watching, hey, man, next thing you know, you're going to be walking around and it's going to catch you unaware, man. Right? You're not going to have time to fast, pray, and do the things that you should have been doing from the very beginning. Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garment, lest he walk naked, and they see his shame. So you don't want to walk naked and let your shame be uncovered in the land of the living by not watching, you understand? And watching is more than just reading. Watching is more than just watching this video. Watching is more than this. You have to watch in all things. When you cross the road, you look right, you look left, you look up, you look down, and then you do a double check. Then even when you're in the road, you're still looking. You consistently watching. How much more when it pertains into salvation in your life, man? Well, I'm going to get my closing precept. It's the book of Revelation, right? I'm going to start at 3 and verse 2. Be watchful and strengthen in the things which remain. What are the things which remain, man? Right? These prophecies, the doctrine. You understand? The Lord keeping you to himself and holding fast. You understand? So you have to keep and strengthen all the things which remain that you was taught, man. You was taught you an Israelite. You was taught the seal. You was taught the times we living in. You was taught we living in the end. These are all the things which remain, man. That are ready to die, for I have not found our works perfect before Yahweh. So no matter what you do, your works are not perfect before the Lord. You could do a lot of reading, a lot of praying, a lot of fasting. It's always more work to do, man. Right? It's almost more work to put in. You understand? Right? Salaki. It's almost more work to put in, man. It's almost something to do, and it's true. You could always put it in more. It says, for I have not found our works perfect before Yahweh. Remember, therefore, how thou hast received and heard. So remember everything which you've received and heard, and it's truth, man. From the time that first scripture caught you on fire. From that time, the very first time you fasted. The very first time the Spirit hit you. The very first time you kept a feast day. The very first time you literally found a brother or sister in this truth, right, that bear witness just like you and had an everlasting friendship and righteousness, man, right? Remember these things. It says what? Remember, therefore, how thou hast received and heard, and hold fast. So you can't let the doctrine of Yahushua, slip from your hand like a broken vessel and start trusting in Christianity, the ways of this world. You understand? Start trusting in oppression. Start trusting in everything in this society, because that's when you're going to be utterly destroyed, man. It says what? Have received and heard, and hold fast and repent. You got to be repenting more than ever in these last days. If therefore thou shalt not watch, I will come on thee as a thief, and thou shalt not know what hour I will come upon thee. So if you're not watching in all things, hey, the Lord going to come to you like a thief and snatch a candlestick, and you're going to be out there faithless, right, in the days of trouble. Jump into verse 5. He that overcometh, the same shall be clothed in white raiment. Right now, we're clothed, right, in filthy garments, right? We have the Spirit of the Lord, but on a physical and spiritual level, we're not spotless and blameless. We'll become spotless and blameless in that day, you understand? We receive the grace and mercy from the Lord. We want to be spotless and blameless before the coming of Yahweh Yahushua, right? Like you read about in 1 John chapter 2, verse 25 on down. It says what? And I will not blot out his name out of the book of life. So right now, your name may be in the book of life, but the Lord could blot it out. Your name could be in there right now. You understand? In the book of life, from the foundation of the earth, but you're not holding yourself diligently, it could be wiped out. It could be blotted out, this thing, man. It says what? Out his name out of the book of life, but I will confess his name before my Father and before his angels. So the Lord will literally plead on your behalf. You understand? Him being the mediator between what? You and the Father, plead on your behalf, confess your name, and show the records of your name being in the book of life, and you inherit an everlasting life. If you hold yourself true, continue to watch in all things and be on fire for the name of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, and understand all hell was breaking loose on this earth, and it's about to steadfastly make its way into Babylon. So continue to pray for mercy, right? That should be the chief things you're praying for. Mercy and grace that you survive the latter times on the earth, that you endure to the end, that you praying for the destruction. Add unto these things through your prayers, man. Stop just praying for wisdom all the damn time. Stop praying that you're going to pay rent next week all the time. That's deeper than that. Your prayers should be deep. You understand? Your prayers should be deep on a deeper level, man. It's not just the cares of this world, which the Lord told you don't worry about, man, if you're a saint. Because I've been young and I've been old and I've never seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread, man. That's what David said, paraphrasing. So I'm not worried about how we're going to pay rent. I'm not worried about these nations and trying to kill us and we keeping our mind on the kingdom. We keeping our mind on the law, statutes, and commandments and the faith, and we keeping our mind on making sure that we get delivered in these last days, man. So with that, I want to give all honor and glory. Lord willing, this was edifying. Go back, look at the news, check up on it even more. Right, it's more news to break forth, more understanding on what has literally happened to kick off even more. Continue to watch. So with that, I want to give all honor and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Mashiach, Malak Yahushai. Right, a strong shalom to all of the mighty men that go out there and labor on the highways and byways, making their body a living sacrifice in the rain, the tumults, the demons, the uprisings, and the uproars. And a strong shalom to the men that are not out there as of yet, but building themselves up, reading, praying, and fasting. And another strong shalom to the women holding down the household, cooking, cleaning, being quiet, submissive, loving, steadfast, and abounding in the work, and literally loving and respecting their husbands as unto the Lord. Another strong shalom to the women that are not married, but reverencing the Lord, being shamefaced, you understand, keepers at home, and doing everything they can do to magnify the name of the Lord. And another strong shalom to the nation that sincerely repent in these last days and are seeking the kingdom sincerely. And with that, shalom.